This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Tuesday. Big Ben, that chase that we were watching on Twitch before we turned YouTube and the podcast and everything on, it was about 3 years ago, I think. 4 years ago, something in that range. The dude popped some pills and was drinking a 40 while the cops were chasing him at like fucking 35, 40 miles an hour. He wasn't going all that fast. It was a pretty humorous chase. I enjoyed it. But they pulled in one like the up armored vehicles or the MRAP, whatever the police big armored tank looking thing is. Complete overkill. Today marks 1 year since Trump was sworn into office. It is 1 year exactly of Trump 2.0. He held a press conference about it today, and boy, did it go off the rails. I've got the whole thing. We'll watch a little bit of it. Maybe we'll skip around, but he's got some doozies. There are some doozies from today. Walk out to protest Trump taking place like right now in LA. Trump releasing his text with Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, like he's a 15-year-old girl. People in Greenland are mocking us. We're going to hear from the Danish MP. You're never going to guess. This is so fucking funny. Gavin Newsom was at Davos. And since we're talking about Davos, I always take the opportunity to introduce people that may not know Rutger Bregman, who went to Davos and told the dipshits off. How much would Oprah be taxed under the proposed California wealth tax? Stocks fell sharply. An Epstein survivor is telling a judge to force the Trump administration to release the files. We're going to talk about the ICE activity in Minnesota. The DOJ has apparently subpoenaed Tim Walz, Governor Jacob Fry. The FBI apparently doing some funky shit with the investigation into Renee Good's death. A woman who was dragged out of her car by ICE in a viral video is going to speak to us. ICE, not to us, it's an interview with a news station, not particularly to us. But we're gonna hear what they said. Torchy, welcome in, friend. A man with a rare skin condition was detained by ICE while getting treatment. We watched the video of a guy in his boxer shorts get drug out of his house. He was a citizen, by the way, a citizen. Drug out of his house in his shorts. We're gonna hear his account of what happened. He's given interviews. Also given an interview today, Greg Bovino gave a press conference. We're going to hear from that dipshit. There was a murder for hire case involving Greg Bovino, and that case going to trial in Chicago. Don Lemon beefing with Nicki Minaj. We've got a man with a machete loose in a laundromat. I got video of a semi falling off an interstate. A dramatic rescue of a sinking SUV. Plus, a porn star has caused an uproar due to her presence at the National College Football Championship game. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol. Live. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm JustinFREAKIN. Now that we got the formalities out of the way, let's get to what that news be doing. Hey, I'm not high enough for this shit. She's apparently upset at ESPN for showing her because she kind of wanted to be low key about it. But I'm saying if she can get some followers out of it, go for it, girl. Get that bag. Chase that dollar. It's capitalism. Go for it. But as I was telling the I should make you wait until the end of the show. I didn't know her. I don't know. Abella Danger. Abella Danger was her name. I mean, like, if you're not going to be here for the end of the show and you want to look her up, I mean, Abella Danger was her name. That scene with Mac from Sunny in Philadelphia. Shelly, good evening. Like, you don't know her, but you jacked off to her. I've never heard of her, and I'm a gooner, but, like, I'm usually supporting really small creators. You live in sexual anarchy.
You live in sexual anarchy.
We're coming up on the 5th anniversary of him saying that. Sad he's not here for it, I guess. That was in regards to the Super Bowl halftime show in 2021. It was whatever Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, because it was about 50 Cent. 50 Cent was doing in the club. That's what Charlie Kirk thought the dancers lived in sexual anarchy.
You live in sexual anarchy.
Sorry, Charlie. Not here for the anniversary. Today was an anniversary. Today was the 1-year anniversary since Trump was sworn in as president. It has been 1 fucking year.
You've seen the center of those protests as I was talking to her about. And this, of course, happening on Donald Trump's watch.
Ragnitz.
Well, today marks 1 year since he was sworn in for president for a second term, and he and his administration.
I got puppy video.
Of course, they rapidly rolled out everything from a long list of executive orders to imposing what he calls Liberation Day tariffs on imported foreign goods. Well, Brian Abel is in Washington to take us through the big moments that got us to where we are here.
The first year of President Trump's second term has brought many changes to Washington, as well as some extraordinary moments. One change is the way the various branches of government interact with each other now. President Trump has a solidly conservative Supreme Court that's given favorable rulings on more cases as Trump's attempts at expanding his presidential power like never before are challenged. And when we look at armed conflict, the check and balance of Congress is being tested in a significant way. The bombing of Iran, the strikes on alleged drug boats, and the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, all military operations that did not get congressional approval, consultation, or even a heads up given to before they took place. The separation of the DOJ and the White House is seemingly gone as they are in lockstep with unprecedented investigations and attempts to prosecute President Trump's perceived political enemies. Then there's the extraordinary moments of this presidency. The Liberation Day tariffs, the pardoning of nearly all January 6 rioters, the significant immigration enforcement crackdown, the testing.
He did not say that strongly enough. It wasn't just January 6 rioters that he pardoned. He pardoned men convicted of seditious conspiracy against the United States. To me, that in and of itself is sedition. He pardoned people convicted of seditious conspiracy. Now, I've had right-wingers try to argue with me and be like, well, it was just seditious conspiracy, as if that's some lesser charge. Conspiracy just means you committed sedition with multiple people. It doesn't mean it's some lesser charge. It still means you committed sedition. But right-wingers are fucking morons, so... Multiple people convicted of sedition, pardoned by Trump. Trump with a whole new slate of pardons today, including several people that committed fraud that weren't Somali, by the way.
Perceived political enemies. Then there's the extraordinary moments of this presidency. The Liberation Day tariffs, the pardoning of
I like his hair.
January 6th rioters, the significant
The reporter, not
immigration
Trump.
enforcement crackdown, the testing of international alliances, the dress down of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office, and hosting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. And there's the physical changes in Washington, too. From the demolition of the East Wing of the White House to make way for a new ballroom, to the changes of the Rose Garden and a new name alongside Kennedy at the Center for Performing Arts. All of this leading to a remarkable 365 days since President Trump's second inauguration. At the White House, Brian Abel reporting.
It has definitely been a whirlwind. 1 year of Trump, he celebrated it today with an insane press conference. I have the greatest hits of the press conference. Where this is the whole goddamn thing.
1 year since
right
he was sworn in
here.
for a second term. Let's listen in now.
What we've produced, all page after page after page, individual things. I could stand here and read it for a week and we wouldn't be finished. But we've done more than any other administration has
I
done
don't think
by
there was anything
far.
written on those pages, was there?
In terms of ending wars, in terms of completing wars, nobody's really seen very much like it. I think it's appropriate that because Minnesota is so much in the fray, and I say to my people all the time, and they're so busy doing other things, they don't say it like they should. They're apprehending murderers and drug dealers. And
Yeah, apparently he cut into daytime
these
TV.
are some of the more recent ones that we have, and I can show you some of the people. Vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. I say, why don't you talk about that more? Because people don't know. Do you want to live with these people?
I mean, maybe. Let me see some more pictures. Taylor business in there.
Were with their
I'll adopt her.
and either put in jails in their country from where they came, or the countries respect us. And
Well,
so
we
they
covered
actually
last
put them
night that they were lying about worst
the
of
old
the
days,
worst.
they didn't
Local
respect our
officials
country.
dispute
Biden
that.
wouldn't do this because he let them all in. You know, if you didn't have open border policies of Biden, none of this, all of the things that all of the time that we spend talking about Minnesota and everything else, most of them are coming from out of the country.
Anonymously, welcome in.
It's been caused by a previous administration. Look at this, one after one.
Warlord, good evening, my friend.
Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that. in
He's
many
a rough
cases, they're
character.
murderers, they're drug lords, drug dealers.
I like drug
They're
dealers.
mentally insane. There's some of them who are brutal killers. They're mentally insane. They're killers, but they're insane. These are just in Minnesota, California. It's worse. In other states, it's worse.
This is
No,
this is
Minnesota's
him
the crime is incredible.
celebrating
The financial crimes are incredible.
his
And the
his
problem is
1 year
because of-
anniversary.
The agitators and insurrectionists, whatever you want, troublemakers, but they're paid agitators and insurrectionists. Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota. given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians, can you imagine?
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the greatest hits, and we might watch some of the questions that he takes at the end. He went on this rant. He went on this rant about how his mom said he could be a baseball player. I'm sorry, this is so funny.
We had in my area in Queens, I grew up in Queens, we had a place called Creedmoor. Creedmoor, did anybody know that? Creedmoor. It was a big, I said, Mom, why are those bars on the building? I used to play Little League Baseball there, a place called Cunningham Park. Who's quite the baseball player, you wouldn't believe. But I said to my mother, Mom, she would be there, always there for me. She said, son, you could be a professional baseball player. I said, thanks, Mom. I said, why are those bars on the windows? Big building, big, powerful building. It loomed over the park, actually. She said, well, people that are very sick are in that building. I said, boy, I used to always look at that building and I'd see this big building, big, tall building. It loomed over the park. It was sort of, now that I think, it was a pretty unfriendly sight. But I'll never forget.
His mama never told him that shit.
Because they got rid of most of them, you know, the Democrats in New York, they took them down, and the people live on the streets now. That's why you have a lot of the people in California and other places, they live in the streets. They took the mental institutions down. They're expensive. But I'd say, why does that building have those bars? Boy, it wasn't normal. You know, you're used to looking at like a window. But this one, you look at it, all this steel, vicious steel, tiny windows, bars all over the place. Nobody was getting out. It's called a mental institution. That was an insane asylum.
I should be laughing. This is not funny. This is incredibly sad. This is us watching vicious steel. And his tiny hands were flopping the whole time. Okay, so Thursday we're going to have Jack Smith. Tomorrow, Trump is speaking at Davos at like 8:30 in the morning. That should be crazy. Thursday, and I'm gonna get up. We're gonna stream this live. Jack Smith is gonna be testifying live in open Congress. He went off on Jack Smith today because Smith will be in the news later on this week.
Our government and removed his hand-picked radical left Marxist prosecutors from the Department of Justice, like deranged Jack Smith. He's a sick son of a bitch. They gave me the worst of the worst. And here I am. How did that happen? How did that happen? He's a sick guy, and Letitia James is sick, and Alvin Bragg is sick. They're sick people. And others. Fanny. You can't call her Fanny. She doesn't like it. She wants to be called Fanny.
Funny. Oh my God. He's still very upset about the Nobel Prize, apparently.
Time we ended, they were hugging each other, and it's been a great peace, you know? Should have gotten the Nobel Prize for each war, but I don't say that. I say millions and millions of people. And don't let anyone tell you that Norway doesn't control the shots, okay? It's in Norway. Norway controls the shots. They'll say, we have nothing to do with it. It's a joke. They've lost such prestige. That's why I have such respect for Maria doing what she did. She said, I don't deserve the Nobel Prize. He does. When she got it, they said, wow, that's amazing. I thought President Trump would get it. President Trump deserves it. He ended up 8 wars. How nice, right? She's a good woman. Time we ended, they were hugging each other.
Let's hear him take some questions at the end of that press conference. I mean, it's kind of the highlights of him and his Just free balling it. He took some questions at the end.
Civil war and a bloodshed in Syria, especially after the fall
I
of the
did a
regime.
good job. I did a good job.
The Syrian government, the left,
You sure did, big guy. You did a
force
really good job.
implement its force on specific areas. And
Well,
with your
to keep the prisoners, the terrorist prisoners, which are some of the worst in the world, at bay. So they were able to keep that.
He's a
He's working
big
very
guy.
hard. The president of Syria is working very, very hard. Strong guy, tough guy, pretty rough resume. But you're not going to put a choir boy in there and, get the job done. I
No,
spoke
you're
with him
not.
yesterday
Are
because
you?
We were talking about the prisons and, what was going on. We have some of the worst terrorists in the world in those prisons. And he's watching them.
Syria.
Mr.
Go ahead.
President, Gavin Newsom is going to be at Davos if he's not already there. You're probably going to run into him. I presume that this is for him to raise his platform for 2028.
Gavin Newsom is at Davos. We're going to hear from him here momentarily.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that he's going to be the nominee. I know this. I had a very good relationship with Gavin Newsom when we were, in office together. I was president. He was the governor of California. We had he would talk about it often. And somewhere we just went astray. I just hate the way California is being run. We actually have people leaving. It's never happened before, but I hate the way it's being run. He and I had a very good relationship, really close to the word exceptional, but now we seem not to.
I missed Alaska 420. I'm sorry. Cricks, good evening, my friend.
Mr. President, you've been hearing from allies.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Kara Castanova from Lindell TV, and you spoke earlier
Lindell
about
TV. Oh, she
Washington.
could be my GOP mommy.
Now that Maduro is in U.S. custody and he was criminally charged, has any more information emerged that you could share with us regarding Venezuelan election software and Venezuelan ties to tampering with the 2020 election? And would you consider speaking to Maduro personally in prison in New York to get some answers on Venezuela's involvement with the 2020 election?
No, I don't think I would be doing that. I think my lawyers would be very unhappy if I did that. They've learned some things.
She
Please.
said she was from Lindell TV.
Right. If the Supreme Court comes out and rules against you on the tariffs, and
Well, I'll have to use something else. I mean, look.
The Supreme Court
take a
issued
look at
3
the
rulings
license,
today, but
take
none
a
of
look
them
at
were
other
the
things.
tariff
We
ruling.
have other alternatives. But what we're doing now is the best, the strongest, the fastest, the easiest, the least.
Work it harder, do it better.
Sir, if you move ahead with
Makes you stronger.
tariffs on
Do
Europe,
it faster.
you secured
Make
almost
it.
$1 trillion
I'm
of
sorry.
commitments from them to invest
I
in
butchered
the United
that
States.
song.
Does that go kaput?
I don't even know if I was doing the Daft Punk or the Kanye.
I doubt it. Look, they need that agreement very badly with us. They really do. They fought very hard to get it. So I doubt that, but we'll see what happens. We have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland. I'm leaving tonight, as you know, for Davos. And we have a lot of meetings scheduled on Greenland. And I think things are going to work out pretty well, actually.
And so
Thank you, Mr. President. Will you still go to Paris for the G7 emergency meeting as offered by President Macron?
No, I wouldn't do that. No. Because, Emmanuel's not going to be there very long. And, there's no longevity there. He's a friend of mine. He's a nice guy. I like Macron. But he's not going to be there very much longer, as you know. And I think,
So he's talking about Macron, and this morning he actually leaked his texts with Emmanuel Macron. Very odd exchange. Trump's full messages with European leaders and what they tell us. A series of text exchanges between Donald Trump and European leaders about ownership of Greenland have sensationally been released. U.S. President has pledged to, and it sensationally means Donald Trump posted them on Truth Social. U.S. President has pledged to tell European leaders at this week's forum in Davos, Switzerland, that we will have to have Greenland. I didn't think I said it right. We will have to have Greenland. Diplomacy has traditionally been seen as synonymous with discretion, and most of it continues to be behind closed doors. The latest revelations, however, fall in a different category. The text exchange between Trump and Norwegian Prime Minister Jonas Støre. Dear Mr. President, dear Donald, on the contact across the Atlantic on Greenland, Gaza, Ukraine, and your tariff announcement yesterday. You know our position on these issues, but we believe we all should work to take this down and de-escalate. So much is happening around us that we need to stand together. We are proposing a call with you later today, with both of us or separately. Give us a hint of what you prefer. Best, Alex, on behalf of Finnish President Alexander Stubb and Jonas. Trump's response was, Dear Jonas, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize, he released this. Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. Denmark cannot protect that land from Russia or China, and why do they have a right of ownership anyway? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago. But we had boats landing there also. I've done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT. This is evidence that diplomatic norms have been changing for a while, and it's not just President Trump. The former NATO spokesperson, Owen Lungusku, told the BBC it's rather unusual for private messages between leaders to be made public, but it's part of President Trump's propensity of conducting diplomacy in public. You could say it's the ultimate megaphone diplomacy. Mark Weller, professor at Cambridge University, who has advised governments and international organizations, agrees exchanges between governments at a high level are ordinarily carefully scripted. This avoids misunderstanding and accidents when responding on important points without due reflection. This is not a problem for President Trump, who thrives on disrupting expectations. But he notes that it is unusual for the cool Norwegians to retaliate in kind. Clearly, there's a sense that one must fight fire with fire. In addition, a personal frustration about the loss of all diplomatic form. DJ Dub, good evening. The pettiest of bitches indeed. This was the Danish MEP Anders Vistisen today.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off. Det var næsten sådan ordene lød, da jeg for et år siden stod på den selv samme talerstol og sagde meget klart, at hvis Trump...
I'm sorry, colleague, this is against our rules. As much as you might feel, or the room might feel in this, we have clear rules about cuss words, language that is inappropriate in this room. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it is unacceptable, even if you might have strong political feelings about this.
It did sound a lot shorter in English. Let's hear it again. It was a lot shorter in English.
Let me put this in words you might understand. Mr. President, fuck off. Det var næsten sådan ordene lød, da jeg for et år siden stod på den selv samme talerstol og sagde meget klart, at hvis Trump...
I'm sorry, colleague, this is against our rules. As much as you might feel, or the room might feel in this, we
it's like 5 times as long.
About cuss words.
It was a Danish MEP. I don't even know what that means. The people of Greenland are mocking us right now, and they are doing the fentanyl challenge. It's like the new Greenland thing to mock Americans. You gotta admit that is pretty funny. Is that what they see from America? Just people zonked out of their minds? Because those videos exist. I love it. The White House decided to share this. It was a screen grab of a video. I'm gonna show you the screen grab that the White House shared, which is Trump with the American flag, Rubio and JD Vance, soon to be a father again. Apparently, his wife pregnant. She can be my GOP mommy, even pregnant. I'm down with it. This is the White House sharing out Trump's Truth Social of him holding an American flag, Greenland, U.S. territory, established 2026. What's funny about it is that's a still from a video. Do you want to see the video? I usually wouldn't highlight AI slop, but the fact that the president shared that shared this screenshot of a video that showed this. I mean, I wouldn't have known this video existed if they hadn't have, shared the screenshot of it. Danish MP. Let me try to say his name here. I bet it's stupid. Danish MP Rasmus Jarlov. It wasn't too bad. Rasmus Jarlov.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Rasmus Jarlov, Danish member of the parliament and chairman of the Defense Committee. We are so privileged to have you here at what I know is a tense and critical time. So let me jump right in. President Trump has posted on social media that Greenland is imperative for national and world security. There can be no going back. I don't hear an off-ramp in that. What is your response, sir?
Thanks a lot for having me on. It's really important to talk to you. Our response is that this is a very, very difficult situation for us because we're being asked to do something that we can't do. We can't just hand over Greenland to the United States. There's people living there, and they're very clear. They don't want to become Americans. They don't want to be governed by the U.S. or become part of the United States.
Who would want to become American?
Sell off people like we're in the 1800s. We don't do that anymore. And we have to protect them. Greenland is a self-governing region of Denmark, but they're citizens of our country. They have representation in our parliament. So it's pretty much like an American state. So it'd be like if the United States was asked to hand over Alaska or Hawaii to China. And we just can't do that. And therefore, it's not really going to matter sort of what pressure is put on us. We want to be on good terms with the United States, of course. We've been allies for a very long time. We've been a friend of the United States for your entire history. We've never been on different sides.
This really was what it was like dealing with Germany, wasn't it?
And we want to preserve that relationship, but we can't give in to a demand of handing over part of our country.
And we're so glad to have you here to give that perspective and comparing it to the annexation of a U.S. state.
This is before Germany invaded Poland.
Viewers get a feeling for this.
We had a good relationship with Germany, and we want to keep having a good relationship with them.
What is Denmark prepared to do to defend Greenland? And do you think that could include military force?
Well, we certainly don't want to use military force in a situation like this. We're defending Greenland normally against, mostly against Russia, who's the big player in the Arctic. We have kept them completely out. We've kept China completely out. They don't have any activities up there. They control nothing. They don't own anything. They don't have any mining. They don't even have a consulate. I normally say that it's difficult to even find a Chinese restaurant in Greenland. That's how.
Oh yes. The Nazis explicitly cite the Jim Crow South for their racial segregation.
Much they've been kept out, and the United States can be sure that we will continue to do that. And if we were afraid that China or Russia were about to take over Greenland, we would call for help. But that's not the situation. And I certainly hope it doesn't come to a military confrontation with the United States. That's completely, that would be a disaster for us, of course. And we're well aware of the size difference between us, so we know that the Americans can destroy our military. But of course, in that absurd situation, they would have the duty to fight and protect Greenland as much as they could. So we are actually talking about a war if that happened. And of course, that would be a complete disaster.
It is also very serious. President Trump told our colleagues here at NBC News no comment on whether the U.S. would seize Greenland by force. He doesn't want to take that off the table. What do you think the implications would be? And could the U.S. end up...
So are we just basically like, which country are we going to invade next? Is it Iran? Is it Greenland? Where are we going to invade next?
At war with NATO, or are you thinking in the short run, the meeting in Davos, the talking with leaders could carve out some pathway to avert that?
That's what we're hoping. We want to talk to the Americans about what it is that they think they would achieve in Greenland that they don't already have today. Because the thing is that the United States already has complete and full military access to Greenland. They used to have something like 30 bases up there. They used to have 15,000 soldiers in Greenland. They have reduced that down to one base that looks after missiles flying over the North Pole from Russia in case of a nuclear attack. But they're welcome to have as many bases as they want. They can upscale it. Actually, many of the bases are still there. We kept the runways and the buildings, so you could move right back in if that's what you want. The door is wide open for that. And also, if they have concrete mining projects in mind or anything else, we would love to talk about that, but we can't hand over the sovereignty. And really, it wouldn't give the U.S. anything it doesn't already have. Even if we hand it over for free and without the huge implications for the Western alliance that an attack on a NATO country would have, even disregarding that, it's a terrible business case because the U.S. has full access for free with no expiry date, and Denmark is paying the expenses in Greenland. So I don't know, why would you want to take over that? It really doesn't make any sense.
It is so concerning to lawmakers here in the United States. A bipartisan group traveled to Copenhagen to speak with members of parliament. And did they assure you or reassure you that they are prepared to try to use the tools of Congress to restrain the president on his ambitions to take over Greenland?
Well, they didn't give any promises like that. We're just hoping that the American public, maybe Congress...
They can't make those promises.
We'll just rethink.
They don't have that power. They can't restrain this motherfucker.
We've been your friend for 250 years. We've never done anything hostile to the United States, ever. There's no threat from Greenland. Greenland has done nothing. And U.S. isn't a country that goes out to subjugate people and take away their freedom and try to sort of govern them in an imperialistic
Greenland
style.
killed my brother, actually.
And we don't recognize you right now when you're trying to do that, and it seems so strange to us. We would have never thought this would have happened. I think we've been really loyal to you. We've been a very good friend for a long time, and we would never turn on you. I think you would turn on yourselves before we would have. So all of a sudden experiencing that we've been threatened.
Well, yeah, clearly.
Seems rather strange.
And of course, after 9/11, Denmark came to the aid of the United States and had a higher rate of casualties per capita than a number of.
How did 9/11
We
get brought up in
appreciate,
this?
as citizens of the United States, we appreciate that.
Jesus runs?
Denmark is.
Jesus are uns? Please turn on us for your own good. I mean, Jesus runs? Jesus take the wheel? Are you a runner who's really into Jesus? Oh, you could just be like Mexican and you could be Jesus. I could be saying it wrong. Jesus runs? Or is that an ice joke? Is Jesus running from ice? Cancel Justin. Gavin Newsom was at the Davos. Oh, you were Jesus before it was cool.
To stand up to that wildly unpopular president, Donald Trump. Watch.
Yeah, it's time to buck up. It's time to get serious. And
buckle up, buggeroos.
It's time to stand tall and firm, have a backbone. I've seen this in the United States. The supine Congress playing both sides. Saying one thing on a text or a tweet and another publicly. It's time to have principle. It's time to stand tall and strong. It's time to stand united. You make that determination. I don't make that determination.
When you say standing
collectively, I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders. I mean, handing out crowns and this is pathetic. Nobel Prizes that are being given away. I mean, it's just pathetic.
Yeah, right in front of Riri and her fish.
How pathetic they look on the world stage. I mean, at least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
Fuzzy Simba, Mr. Sprawn, that's how you get evening.
Diplomacy with Donald
That you guys are here, we can light one up, tip one back.
You mate with him or he devours you.
I am not mating with Donald Trump, you piece of shit. Is that Newsom telling us that he's going to mate with Trump? I don't want to see their babies. I can't believe we never got the butt baby. South Park. Trump won again. It's Davos time of year, so I always take the opportunity to remind everybody that this motherfucker exists. His name is Rutger Bregman. Rutger Bregman went to Davos. This is two legendary clips back to back. Bregman went to Davos and gave the Davos people what for. He is a historian.
This is my first time at Davos, and I find it quite a bewildering experience.
Happened in 2019.
I mean, 1,500 private jets have flown in here to hear Sir David Attenborough speak about, how we're wrecking the planet. And I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and equality and transparency. But then, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share. It feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water, right? there was only one panel, actually.
Well, we've had two. You're the second of our panelists.
There was only one panel.
Let's go there.
one panel hidden away in the media center that was actually about tax avoidance. Yeah. I was one of the 15 participants. So something needs to change here. I mean, 10 years ago, the World Economic Forum asked the question, what must industry do to prevent a broad social backlash? The answer is very simple. Just stop talking about philanthropy and start talking about taxes. Taxes. We need to, I mean, just 2 days ago, there was a billionaire in here, what's his name? Michael Dell. And he asked the question like, name me one country where a top marginal tax rate of 70% has actually worked. And, you know, I'm a historian. The United States, that's where it has actually worked.
Goddamn right.
During Republican President Eisenhower, you know, the war veteran. The top marginal tax rate in the US was 91% for people like Michael Dell. You know, the top estate tax for people like Michael Dell was more than 70%. I mean, this is not rocket science. I mean, we can talk for a very long time about all these stupid philanthropy schemes. We can invite Bono once more, but come on, we got to be talking about taxes. That's it, taxes. All the rest, Bono. In my opinion.
We have a tax system that leaks so much that allows $170 billion of money every year to be taken to tax havens and to be denied the developing countries that need that money most. So we have to look at the business model, and we have to look at the role of governments to tax and plow back money into people's lives.
I have to say, honestly, this is a very one-sided panel. The U.S. basically has the lowest unemployment rate ever, the lowest black unemployment rate ever, the lowest...
This is Ken Goldman, the former CFO at Yahoo.
Youth unemployment ever. We've actually reduced poverty around the world. No one's talking about that at all. So I'd like for the panel to talk about beyond taxes, which every one of you have talked about.
Nobody's patting him on the back for all the good that he's done.
What can we really do to help solve inequality over time beyond taxes?
The gentleman who said we've just talked taxes and that jobs are there and there's low and unemployment rates are low. Let me tell you something. We're talking about jobs, but the quality of those jobs. And we also work with poultry workers in the richest country in the world, the United States. Poultry workers. These are women who are cutting the chickens and packing them, and we buy them in the supermarkets. Dolores, one woman we work with there, told us that she and her co-workers have to wear diapers to work because they are not allowed toilet breaks. This is in the richest country in the world. That's not a dignified job. Those are the jobs we are being told about, that globalization is bringing jobs. The quality of the jobs matter. It matters. These are not jobs of dignity. In many countries, workers no longer have a voice. They are not allowed to unionize. They are not allowed to negotiate for salaries. So we're talking about jobs, but jobs that bring dignity. We are talking about healthcare. The World Bank has told us that 3.4 billion people who earn $5.5 a day are on the verge, are just a medical bill away from sinking into poverty. They don't have health care. They are just a crop failure away from sinking back into poverty. They have no crop insurance. So don't tell me about low levels of unemployment. You are counting the wrong things. You're not counting dignity of people. You're counting exploited people.
I want to... That historian that first spoke, he very much impressed Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson invited him to come on his show because Tucker thought he was, handing it to the elites. But Bregman handed Tucker Carlson his ass. Tucker never aired the segment. We're seeing Bregman's side of it.
And no one's allowed to speak about water. That's one of the great moments, maybe the great moment in Davos history. Rutger Bregman is the author of Utopia for Realists, and he joins us now. Mr. Bregman, I can't stop laughing just listening to that. And part of it makes me wonder, are you the first person ever to note that people are flying private to talk about global warming and that none of them mention tax avoidance? Has anyone ever said that before at Davos that you know of?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on Davos history, but it is a bit hypocritical, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And others.
This is back when Tucker was on Fox.
Show, we've just never gone to Davos and said it out loud as you did. So if I was wearing a hat, I would take it off to you. What response did you get?
Well, I mean, they were not very happy with me, but I'm just I think a random Dutch historian who's basically saying what everyone around the globe is thinking. You know, the vast majority of Americans, for years and years now, according to the polls, including Fox News viewers and including Republicans, are in favor of higher taxes on the rich. You know, higher inheritance taxes, higher top marginal tax rates, higher wealth taxes. It's all really mainstream. But no one's saying that at Davos, just as no one's saying it on Fox News, right? And I think the explanation for that is quite simple, is that most of the people in Davos, but also here on this channel, have been bought by the billionaire class. You know, you're not meant to say these things. So I just went there and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to say it, just as I'm saying it right here on this channel.
Well, what was interesting, I thought, about what you said was you noted something. I mean, many people have called for higher taxes, but very few.
Well, not on this channel, is it? I mean, almost all of the pundits on this channel for years have been against higher taxes, right? Even though the vast majority of Americans is in favor of it.
I mean, I don't know. It would be interesting to know how many hours of Fox you've watched, but I'm interested in what you said about tax avoidance. So,
yeah.
I mean, just because someone faces a specific tax rate does not mean that person pays that tax rate at all. I don't think Netflix, for example, paid any taxes last year at all. So what
at all.
do specifically to make certain that this class of people pays what they're supposed to pay?
Well, it's about multiple things. So we should really crack down on tax paradises and on tax avoidance. That's a major issue. But it's also about having higher taxes. So in the 1950s, for example, in the 1960s, in the golden age of capitalism, as historians called it, we had top marginal tax rate for the very rich of about, 70, 80, 90%. Actually under Eisenhower, the Republican president. And this was also, one of the best periods in American history. Same is true for the UK and the rest of Europe. So as a historian, for me, it's all not, it's really not rocket science. We should just go back to simple and straightforward solutions from the past.
Yes.
Right. But this country was sustained, and since you're a historian, I guess you would know this, sustained by an industrial economy at the time that was broad and deep. That created a middle class.
Yeah,
that doesn't exist anymore. So it's an entirely different economy.
Because folks like you hollowed it out.
Well, but that's not really an issue. I mean,
work the same way with an entirely different economy?
Well, I think it would. I mean, America is still pretty much the most powerful country in the world, right? So if it really would want to, it could easily crack down on tax paradises. But the thing is, I mean, you guys have brought into power a president that doesn't even want to show its own tax returns. I mean, who knows how many billions he has hidden in the Cayman Islands or in Bermuda. So I think the issue really is one of corruption and of people being bribed.
And now, 6 years later, he has crypto schemes and fucking Trump phones and Trump RX.
And of not being, not talking about the real issues. What the family, what the Murdochs basically want you to do is to scapegoat immigrants instead of talking about tax avoidance. So I'm glad you're now finally raising the issue. But that's what's been happening for the past couple of years.
And I'm taking orders from the Murdochs. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, it doesn't work that directly. But I mean, you've been part of the Cato Institute, right? You've been a senior fellow there for years. You've been taking their dirty money. They're funded by cock billionaires,
Wait, why don't you tell me how it does work?
Well,
he's telling you.
It's by you taking their dirty money. It's as easy as that. I mean, you are a millionaire funded by billionaires. That's what you are. And I'm glad you now finally jumped the bandwagon, of people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. But you're not part of the solution, Mr. Carlson. You're part of the problem, actually.
AOC, but can I just say,
it's true, right? It's true, right? That all the anchors. All the anchors on Fox, they're all millionaires. How is this possible? Well, it's very easy. You're just not talking about certain things.
Fox doesn't even play where you are.
It doesn't play where you are.
And just to be clear, he's not just a millionaire. He's like a hundreds of millionaire. He's like the heir to the Swanson fucking family fortune. Motherfucker's got money coming out of his eyeballs. He doesn't even have to work for a living.
The internet. I can watch things whatever.
He does this shit because he's pure evil.
I have, actually. I can't say I'm a great fan of your show, but I do my homework when you invite me on your show. So, I mean, you're probably not going to air this, but I went to Davos to speak truth to power, and I'm doing exactly the same thing right now. You might not like it, but you're a millionaire funded by billionaires, and that's the reason why you're not talking about these issues.
But I am talking about these issues.
Yeah, only now. Come on, you jumped the bandwagon. You're all like, oh, I'm against the globalist elite, blah, blah, blah. It's not very convincing, to be honest.
No.
Yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets picked up because you're a moron. I tried to give you a hearing, but you were too annoying for me.
You can't handle the criticism, can you?
There's a war on alternative.
No, he can't.
There's a war where they're trying to political expression.
He got dumped when he stopped doing what Murdoch wanted him to do. I like to play that clip from 6 years ago anytime we talk about Davos because, you know, Bregman nailed it. Well, we're talking about taxes on the rich. Let's talk about California's new wealth tax. How much would Oprah have to pay if California's billionaire tax happens? I mean, I call people morons all the time, so I can't really fault Tucker for that.
Another famous name from the world of entertainment, Oprah.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you calculate that she could potentially owe under this bill?
Yeah, so Oprah's a really interesting one because she is very famously a California billionaire. She has a home that she built a couple decades ago there called the Promised Land. She also owns a huge property in Hawaii. She owns property in Chicago. It's a little bit unclear where her primary residence is. And so if she is a Chicago resident, or a Hawaii resident, Oprah will definitely be happy about that. That will definitely be very beneficial to her. But if Oprah is not, then she's going to be hit pretty hard by the tax. And I want to say she would owe something like $150 million.
That's all?
Not chump change at all.
150 million is all she would owe? Because what's she worth? Hold on. $3.2 billion. $3.2 billion. You know, 150 million is not nothing. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more. But she's worth 3.2 billion. Meanwhile, we have nurses out here that are scraping to get by. The mayor and the senator went down to visit.
In with no end in sight, nurses and
the nurses in
negotiations.
Yeah, right now,
New York City.
On the picket lines. Joining them this morning, New York City Mayor Zohar Mamdani and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
And Eyewitness News reporter Phil Tate joins us live outside Mount Sinai West, where nurses are outside.
He's got it like a tear frozen to his face.
Phil.
Yeah, good morning. Nurses, they are breathing a blast, but they are laser focused to get a fair contract. The union and these hospitals.
Oprah is not worth $3.2 billion.
Common ground. We are now on day 9. You can take a live look. This pen is completely full, and there have been.
I like Oprah, and there's no way she should have $3.2 billion.
Bernie Sanders as well as Mayor Mamdani. We can actually see them walking down the steps right now. They're about to take to the podium to greet these nurses who have been out here in the cold, and they again believe that they can get what they want. Mount Sinai in a statement. They had said just last night, to ensure ongoing high-quality care, we have made additional commitments to working with our agency nurses. As we settle into this long-term cadence, it will become more difficult to add Mount Sinai nurses not already working into the schedule without advance notice. Now, nurses say it will take the help from everyone to reach an agreement. Yesterday, Council Speaker Julie Menon, Reverend Al Sharpton, they were on the picket line. And today, right now, Mayor Mamdani, Senator Bernie Sanders, they are now speaking to nurses that have been on the picket line, hitting the pavement. They've been bringing attention to their rallying cry, calling for better staffing ratios, more protection from violent patients and visitors. And talks at the bargaining table last week, while they didn't end with a positive resolution, I asked one nurse her response to Mount Sinai's position that they took last night with agency nurses and their thoughts on where they stand.
I know that we're needed. I know that we're necessary. I know that what we're fighting for is so important that doesn't really worry me that much. We're super excited. We're all big fans of Bernie. We're excited to see all of these supporters out here. We've had people coming with walkers, with canes from other unions, and we just find that it helps to increase our morale and keep us out here in the cold fighting for all the good contract and our healthcare insurance. I'm hopeful but hesitant because our management has refused to even negotiate at this point. They're not coming to the table.
Again, Mayor Mamdani has just taken to outside of Mount Sinai West, where many nurses have gathered for this moment. They say that they are sending a message to executives of hospitals saying that they are ready to negotiate.
Yeah, DJ Dub is getting ready to get real cold here,
Again,
too.
busloads of nurses
Media Witch, welcome in.
minute from many of the Mount Sinai locations here in the city. Now, hospital systems, they have called nurses' demands both dangerous and reckless, saying that there were even nurses over the weekend that were picketing outside of executives' homes. But again, we'll have to wait and see what Bernie Sanders as well as Mayor Mamdani has to say and their support of nurses as we are on now day 9 of this nurses strike. We are live outside of Mount Sinai on the Upper West Side. I'm Phil Tate, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Let's get high, darling. I love it. You know, I got a song for that. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news beat doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discord, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I be?
Right-wingers are morons.
Like one it and hit one back. One more click before we hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
was like, oh, did I make it before the end of the song? I don't know why a lot of my camera's been turning off. Welcome. Good evening. I was hoping I'd get back in time to pack a bowl and listen to Media Wench. Alas, I did not. I think I'm cached over here. But never fear, I already have some grinded up. It's in my handy jar over here. Pretty easy to pack a bong. I meant to change the water out. Might have been like a week since I've changed the water. That was kind of nasty. Oh well. Light one up, tip one back. What jar? What jar are you talking about? I got a jar of Pisky. Did I just hold up a jar? I think I held up the bong, didn't I? Did I hold up my tea? Oh, my weed jar. Oh, my weed jar. This jar, it was specifically for weed. I got a, I'm sorry, Media Witch. I have a friend who, she's like a very crafty person, and she had a partner that like made all kinds of different shit, and it has like, you know, rocks on the top of it, and it came with my rolling tray. Like, it's specifically for marijuana. So, I thought I was like, I didn't show the jar of Pisky on stream. I don't know if there's actually whiskey in it this time. Curious who thought it would be funny to revive the Pisky. One time I asked her if I was making French onion soup, and I asked her if she had any liquor, and she brought a jar of whiskey over, and apparently it tasted like piss, and she wrote Pisky top of the jar. So I had this one time on stream, somebody redeemed the Justin takes a shot. I went and took a shot of Pisky. It's been the stuff of legend since. Winch Curiouser saves all like fucking containers, like not just jars, but like any box, trinket, kit, anything like that. She's totally into it. Okay, now, who doesn't like a good box? That could be a euphemism, or you could actually mean like you fucking like some boxes. Sexual anarchy.
You live in sexual anarchy?
We're almost at the anniversary of him saying that, Winch. I pointed that out earlier. He did not live to see the 5th anniversary. People in the United States are underwater when it comes to their cars.
And a new study found out, well, out right now, found a record number of auto loans are actually underwater. Now, the average amount owed on trade-ins reaching an all-time high, meaning their outstanding loan balance is higher than the actual value of the car. For more, let's get behind the wheel in a segment we call In This Economy. All right, joining me now to talk about the stress on car loans.
It's Dilbert again.
S&P Global Mobility, Thomas Libby. Thomas, thank you for joining me. So how did we get into this mess?
Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me. What's happened is cars have gotten more and more in the last 10 or 20 years. And so what's happened is customers have been purchasing more and more expensive cars. And what's happened is
I don't have a car at the moment.
Cars and the loans have been going up also. And the cars,
a lot of things are underwater because of global warming.
What's happened is you've got into a situation where actually the loans are more than the actual value of the car. And that's a problem for the consumer. So it's primarily been due to the increased price of cars, which is driven by the increased cost of making new automobiles and new light trucks, which are driven by several things. But that's the primary driver of it.
So what's the financial commitment for a car payment for the average American?
So we're fucked on cars and we're fucked on memory.
Well, right now, the average loan actually, the monthly payment on a loan for a new vehicle is somewhere in the vicinity between $775. Obviously, for a lease, it's less, but so that's what it is for the average vehicle. Now, obviously, there's a range that includes your luxury vehicles, your high-priced vehicles, as well as your lower-priced vehicles. Again, about $770, somewhere between $750 and $775 a month. That's the average.
So this will
make
it more difficult for customers to trade in their current car. Why is that?
Well, what happens is the customer. First of all, when the customer purchases a new vehicle with a loan, when they drive that new vehicle off the lot, the value of that new vehicle declines dramatically in about 5 minutes, to be candid with you. As soon as they drive it off the lot, it becomes a used vehicle, and so the value is a lot less than what they paid for it. And so what happens is the vehicle continues to depreciate.
I thought the prices of used vehicles shot up.
Depreciating at a greater rate than the loan, and so the loan then they owe more on the loan than the car's worth. So then when they go back to buy a new vehicle again, what happens is they owe more on the new vehicle than it's worth. So if they trade in that vehicle, not only do they have to give the vehicle back to the dealer, but frequently they have to then pay the dealer to take the vehicle in exchange. So it becomes sort of a snowball effect, and it gets worse and worse. And the way the dealers will try to address this is, and make the monthly payment affordable for the customers, they'll just make the loan longer and longer. So instead of a 6-year loan, they'll have a 7-year loan, 8-year loan. And to be candid, that just makes the situation even worse, because then it takes longer to pay it off. So the situation tends to continue over time. So frankly, the consumer needs to be aware of what their loan amount is, what's still outstanding on the vehicle, and try when they go back to the dealer.
Yeah, you totally do not have to buy a new vehicle.
Let that loan get any bigger, to try to manage the situation.
So what could someone do if they find themselves underwater on the car loan, and what are some things to actually avoid here?
Yes, good question. So first of all, they're going to want to be aware of what their outstanding loan is on the existing vehicle, and try to not have a higher amount loan going forward. The second thing they have to be careful about is, frankly, remember, the dealer wants to sell the vehicle and the manufacturer wants to sell the vehicle, and they will offer a longer loan. So if hypothetically a customer has a loan that's 60 months, they go back in and they find out to get a 60-month loan on the new vehicle, the monthly payment's going to go way up. They're shocked, and they go, well, how can I avoid that? The way to avoid that is by just instead of a 60-month loan, have an 84-month loan or a 96-month loan. That keeps the monthly payment the same.
Yeah, man, I would have thought Audi would have kept its value a little better.
Longer, and so then the customer is underwater even more. So frankly, the customer should try to avoid the longer and longer loan, because that gets them more down the road. So I would suggest, A, be aware of what your loan is, and try to avoid getting a loan for a greater amount.
I don't know, at your age, you drive it into the ground, you may have to buy one other car or something. That's what I'm thinking.
Have a longer loan.
If I get another vehicle here, year.
month loans
Might be my
there.
last
They're a real
vehicle I ever have to buy.
All right, Thomas Libby, thank you for those pro tips.
Toyotas, mom's Toyota, I would have thought would have kept its value more because I thought used cars shot up a few years ago, but I guess they've leveled back out. DJ Dub, tell us about like memory prices have shot up, like the price of getting a new computer. Not what it was, and several places have been scamming people and canceling orders. Llama, welcome in. Well, apparently the stocky poos took a tumble today, so maybe the equilibrium will equal out.
And right now we are 2 minutes away
Eventually.
from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostic alongside Katie Greifeld taking you through to that closing bell with a global simulcast. It started. Carol Masser, Tim Stenovic, they're in the radio room. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, including our partnership with YouTube. A massive sell-off going on right now in U.S. equity markets.
Hold on.
67.89, that's the low in the S&P 500 on the day. 67.45, that's your 100-day moving average. S&P right now.
She can be my GOP mommy.
At 67. Through to that closing
One
bell.
that look at the camera
It
again.
started. Carol Masser, Tim Stenovic, they're in the radio room. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg
Is she
platforms,
Carol
including
Masser? She looks like the masks in Super Mario 2, the ones that would chase you when you go down in a like a clay pot. You'd have to pick up a key and the mask would chase after you, and that's what she looks like. This gal is not impressed with my joke.
our partnership with YouTube. A massive sell-off going on right now in U.S. equity markets. We should point out 67.89. That's the low in the S&P 500 on the day. 67.45. That's your 100-day moving average.
It's probably my favorite.
right now.
Well, I mean, Super Mario World's really fucking fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're hovering near our worst levels of the session. We saw, selling.
I'm day high all the time, so who am I to judge?
Afternoon here, so definitely seeing. I think it's
You're
what's
Willie
interesting
Nelson
is it's broad-based selling, right?
You're
seeing
smoking some
really
of the
across
best
the board
dope God ever put
investors.
breath
I
in.
wouldn't say they're running for the exits. It could be much worse, but it'll be interesting to see what we see in tomorrow's session.
Yeah, 4 stocks lower for every 1 stock that's higher in the S&P 500 today, with the S&P 500 down just over 2%.
But do we really consider that a Mario? That's Doki Doki Panic.
Fell 2.7% on that day.
We know
Right
the
now,
truth
we're trading at
now.
just about levels last seen on December 18th.
I do want to point out volume through the roof right now on the S&P 500, about 41%.
Flo, welcome in.
Than the 30-day average. But as Romaine and I have been talking about, the small caps still outperforming.
You're not fooling me. This is Brandon Urie from Panic at the Disco. He's getting ready to break out in song on us. He's not some financial analyst on Bloomberg fucking television. Who are you fooling?
Still down, but doing better than the big guys.
Yeah, believe it or not, an outperformance by the Russell, even on a decidedly down day. And of course, the elephant in the room is not just the geopolitics, but also earnings season, which really kicks into second gear in just a few minutes with results out of Netflix. Red across the screen here on the Tuesday, the start of a holiday shortened week here in the United States, coming off the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday observance. The S&P 500 down more than 140 points, or about 2% here on the day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 1.8%. The NASDAQ indices each down more than 2% here on the day. And the Russell
It is
2000
so
relative
weird
outperformance, but still deep in the
that
red.
they all get
Drop of
together
about
and
33
clap and shit, make a big deal about
Down
both the
across board.
open
Let's
and
go
the
to S&P
close.
500, 401 names losing ground on this Tuesday. 100 to the upside, Katie, 2 unchanged.
Let's take a look at the sectors as measured by the circle. And it looks pretty scary today because it's all red in terms of what really dragged us lower. It was information technology down by about 3% as a sector. Consumer discretionary financials also taking quite the hit today. In terms of what did well, that tiny slice of green on your screen, that is consumer staples,
Clinically.
managing to squeak out a gain of about
The airline companies got to me. The airline companies got to me. They tried to take me out. You can't bash the airline companies. And nobody gives a shit about the fucking airline companies. You know what we do give a shit about? The Epstein files. Give us the Epstein files. We want the Epstein files.
Donald Trump's Justice Department has now been in violation of federal law for a full month. The law requires the full release of the Epstein files under the Epstein Files Transparency Act by December 19th of last year. In a letter to federal judge Richard Berman, Jeffrey Epstein's survivor, Haley Robson has joined Republican Congressman Thomas Massey and our next guest, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, requesting a special master be appointed to force the Trump Justice Department to comply with the Epstein Transparency Act and release the millions of unreleased Epstein files. We ask the court to help ensure that the law is followed as written, that disclosures are complete and not improperly withheld or over-redacted with respect to those who are not survivors, and that continued delays or discretionary noncompliance do not further re-traumatize us. Oversight would protect the integrity of the process while preserving the court's authority and ensuring fairness to all parties. We understand the seriousness of requesting judicial intervention.
I concur.
We do not make this request lightly. We make it because survivors have waited decades for truth to be acknowledged and for accountability to follow. We were promised transparency. We were promised action. We are still waiting. In a separate filing, Jeffrey Epstein's survivor, Lisa Phillips, wrote this in support of a special master being appointed. The Department of Justice's conduct regarding the Epstein files constitute willful violations of the act and undermine survivors' trust in the integrity of the process and in the government's publicly announced commitments to transparency and accountability. The Department of Justice has not taken actions to fully comply with the act and will likely not do so without proper court supervision, without independent oversight supervised by this court. Survivors, including me, remain at risk of continued delay, obfuscation, and further trauma caused by uncertainty and broken assurances. Tomorrow is Jeffrey Epstein's birthday, and today a giant 12-foot replica of the birthday letter that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday appeared on the National Mall. An accompanying note says, "Happy birthday. The secret handshake invites you to celebrate the birthday of Donald Trump's closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein, with a larger-than-life tribute to their intimate correspondence." Visitors to the National Mall are asked to sign the birthday card with their own message to the Trump administration. Joining us now is Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. He is a member of the House Oversight Committee. And Congressman Khanna, I guess we should...
I don't want to hear from Ro Khanna. I thought we were going to hear from one of the Epstein survivors, the one that asked the judge to force the release. My bad. If you weren't here earlier, I made the announcement, February 1st. That is when the news portion of what you know as the Troll Patrol will move to Fucked Up News. February 1st, Fucked Up News, 4 o'clock. New time, Fucked Up News, February 1st, 4 o'clock. February 1st. It's got a whole new YouTube channel and everything. If you watch on YouTube, go subscribe on YouTube. It's at Fucked Up News, just without the U. Nope, Troll Patrol not going away. We're going to have Troll Patrol Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. That's where you're going to find more of the phone calls and the kind of bullshit stories. I can't bear. I love the Troll Patrol. I can't bear to part with it. I think the name is holding me back. You hear Troll Patrol, you don't know what the fuck the show is. You hear Fucked Up News, that describes what this show is. So The show is not changing. The time is changing. The name is changing. That's what's going on. I think we're going to have more live action things, shit that's going on the Senate floor, on the House floor at 4 o'clock. We're going to do 420 across the coasts. I literally switched to do 420. So, Fucked Up News starts February 1st, 4 o'clock. February 1st, 4 o'clock, Fucked Up News. Yay. Yeah, I was hoping we could hear from an Epstein survivor. They had that little round table on CNN where they had that Scott Jennings Republican dude, and then I don't know who her is. Oh, yes, Eastern Time. 420 Eastern Time. 420. 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Fucked Up News. Eastern Time. I'm sorry, I forget to do that. Scott Jennings, the Republican here, apparently defending the Trump administration. They're slow walking with the Epstein files. I don't know who this woman is, but she ain't having it.
They should follow the law, but let's not get our knickers in a twist here. There's no
let's not
punishment
get our
for this.
knickers in a twist over child rape. Why are you talking like that? It's insane. Like, it's insane. The Epstein files
What's
is
insane?
a multinational, multi-generational child and woman sex trafficking ring. So your attitude right now, you're sort of like, well, shucks, devil be gone, is just horrifying to me. Every woman in the world that is watching this, why are you acting like you have no idea what's happening here? Scott, this is...
He asked me a question about following the law.
Yes, and what
I
I'm
said they
saying
should
to you
follow
is
the
your
law.
attitude. Yeah, and they're not following the law. They're 30 days late on following law, and they didn't explain why they redacted the first things in the first place, which they were also supposed to do.
I know.
Listen,
you
at
have a
this
strong
point, this
opinion
is not...
about it, and
I have a strong
respect
opinion
that.
about it because it is a
But I think they
disgusting
should do it
policy
as
that they are
fast as
doing
they
this.
can.
They are hiding it. It is not the behavior of innocent people, and everything that is in these files it could bring an entire house down. And if it has to, it has to. If it brings down Democrats, bring them down. If it brings down Republicans, bring them down. If it brings down princes, world leaders, Hollywood people, bring them down. But what it feels like right now is there's a giant cabal of people that do not have to listen to the law, do not have to oppose the law, and they were supposed to do something, then they didn't do something, and now they're trying to have a new law that says we don't even have to do it. And what's really...
And this is going hand in hand with just stupid rich people. People that are too rich for their own good. It all...
They should follow the
It's
law.
all interconnected.
Let's not get our knickers in a twist here. There's no
let's not
punishment
get our
for this.
knickers in a twist over child rape. Why are you talking like that? It's insane. Like, it's
That was
insane.
great.
Epstein files
Who is she?
Multinational, multi-generational child.
Leah McGowan, podcast host of Politics Girl. I like you. Over in Minneapolis, the Trump administration moving to subpoena Tim Walz and Minneapolis Governor Jacob Fry.
Also want to share this. We are also following some breaking news. This is from the Associated Press stating that the Justice Department has subpoenaed Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and 5 other Minnesota officials in immigration enforcement obstruction investigation. I wanted to share this live look with you of Minneapolis and share a little bit more on this breaking news.
What a fucking beautiful city.
To follow it, federal prosecutors have served 6 grand jury subpoenas to Minnesota officials as part of an investigation into whether they obstructed or impeded federal law enforcement during an immigration operation in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
I could live in Minneapolis other than the fact that it's fucking cold.
With this matter, the subpoenas, which seek records, were sent to the offices of Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, St. Paul Mayor Thur, and officials in Ramsey and Hennepin counties. Now, that person who spoke to the Associated Press was not authorized authorized to publicly discuss the ongoing investigation and spoke to the AP on the condition of anonymity. The subpoenas are related to an investigation into whether Minnesota officials obstructed federal immigration enforcement through public statements they made. That's according to two people familiar with that matter. They said then it was focused on the potential violation of a conspiracy statute. Walz and Fry, both Democrats, have called the probe a bullying tactic meant to quell political opposition. And this is the reaction from Mayor Jacob Fry saying,
well, I've been to Minneapolis.
We won't be
I've
afraid.
driven through.
We know
I
the
went to
difference
some
between
city,
right and wrong. And as mayor, I'll continue to
more
do the job I
town,
was elected to do, keeping our community safe and standing up for our values. We're also getting reaction from Minnesota Governor.
When I was like 20, maybe even 19, I was messing around with this. She was predominantly a lesbian girl. She played basketball for some team in Minnesota, and I went up there with her to get her shit whenever she came back. It was way the fuck up there. It was almost Canada. And it was May, and it was still like, you know, February feeling to someone from the South. It was still coat weather. I don't like the cold. I want to move somewhere warm. I also want to move to a cool city, and Minneapolis seems like a cool city. Their color, purple. I like purple. It's my favorite color. The FBI opened an investigation into the ICE officer who killed Renee Good, but then it didn't. It opened an investigation. It did its fucking job like it was supposed to until it didn't.
To new revelations about the government's investigation into the shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis. Multiple sources are reporting the FBI opened a probe into the agent who shot her before changing course. Here's Ian Russell.
Yeah, Arena, this comes from sources close to both CNN and the Washington Post, who say the FBI briefly opened a civil rights investigation into Jonathan Ross before shifting to whether he was assaulted. New details tonight about the investigation surrounding the death of Renee Good. CNN and the Washington Post are both reporting that, according to their sources, the FBI had begun a civil rights investigation into ICE agent Jonathan Ross, the agent who fatally shot Good almost 2 weeks ago before the Department of Justice shut it down. According to the Washington Post, the agent who initially reviewed the shooting found sufficient grounds to open that probe.
Where law enforcement...
This news comes just a day after the Deputy Attorney General for the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, appeared on Fox News Sunday saying there would be no investigation.
The Department of Justice doesn't just stand up and investigate because some congressman thinks we should, because some governor thinks that we should. We investigate when it's appropriate to investigate. And that is not the case here. It wasn't the case when it happened, and it's not the case today.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem also appeared on national outlet Sunday, saying they are following the same investigative and review process that they always have under ICE and the Department.
That is an extreme close-up.
Following the same investigative and review process that they always have under ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. After the civil rights investigation was shut down, the Department of Justice pushed for a criminal investigation into Good's widow. Our sources tell us all of these factors led to a half dozen federal prosecutors in the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office to resign. The FBI's rapid response account on X posts that they are still gathering evidence, but the post says, quote, "The facts are the initiator and the facts do not support civil rights investigation."
Oh, it is indeed bullshit. Who am I to comment on anybody's looks? If I'm a 10, she's a 20, maybe even a 25. There was video of a woman that was dragged out of her car by ICE. It went viral. You've probably seen it. I think we played it. in the last week. Oh, Media Winch, were you here the night that the dude said, like, if you're a 10, I'm a 20, maybe a 25? That was hilarious.
By now, you've probably seen this video from Minneapolis, a woman being dragged from her car while driving through a protest against President Trump's immigration crackdown. She was arrested 2 blocks from where an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good a week before. You heard her screaming, "I'm disabled," as agents carried her by her arms and her legs from her own car. Tonight, we know her name, Alia Rahman. And in just a minute, you'll hear from her for the first time in an exclusive interview. Alia says she was never part of the protest that day. She was simply just trying to go to her doctor's appointment. But in a statement, the Homeland Security Department called Rahman a, quote, agitator, adding she, quote, ignored multiple commands by an officer to move her vehicle away from the scene. She was arrested for obstruction. The Minneapolis Police Chief, Brian O'Hara, he watched the video. He sees it differently.
Obviously, I don't know why law enforcement officers initially approached the vehicle. It pisses me off to see that. To see men doing that to a woman who's disabled. It pisses me off. If those cops works for me, they'd have a problem right now.
Sure thing, pig.
With me now, Alia Rahman and her attorney, Alexa Van.
Is he from New York originally? Yeah, the thick accent.
Alia, I want to start with you because this has been viral. People have seen this video over and over again. People have many opinions. This is what happened to you. It is your life. It is your journey. But the government, they're calling you an agitator. So can you just help me understand? Walk me through what happened in those moments before these agents dragged you from your car.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and happy birthday, Dr. King. I'm really happy that you asked this question, right? Because I have been so concerned that folks might be distracted from the real issue at hand by instead debating why I proceeded slowly through a militarized traffic jam full of pedestrians and a cacophony of conflicting instructions. I was on my way to the doctor.
Yep, that's it.
I was on the
Conflicting
main road.
instructions.
That is a direct road from my house to the parking lot. Suddenly there's traffic in the road. There are vehicles blocking it ahead, vehicles that later I understood were ICE vehicles. People around me trying to understand what to do. And I think that you see the rest.
So you weren't, I mean, in the beginning of the video, you see the federal agents saying something to you before you were dragged out. They say that you were given what they call repeated warnings. I just heard you say this cacophony of conflicting commands. What were they saying to you? What did you understand to be happening?
Well, I think I didn't understand what was happening, right? I am a disabled person who has autism, right? That is a big piece of this. But I think even someone who doesn't have the kind of auditory processing challenges I do would not know what to do with the sentence, "Move. I will break your effing window." And then back and forth between move, get out, trying to open my door, more threats of breaking a window, which I don't understand the functional purpose of, and it's not a warning, it's a threat of violence that really shouldn't be packaged with an instruction. Yeah, I mean,
Your window is down.
Tell you about what my ears hear in that situation, but in my ears, my autism also comes with an auditory sorting challenge, where multiple human voices at like a loud party or in a chaotic street all sound like they're the person talking to me. So that's one reason, you see me looking and trying to identify which lips are talking to me. But of course, that's not possible because ICE officers wear things that cover their mouths and faces except for their eyes, right?
So it is so informative for you to explain what it was personally like for you, for us to have watched the video and now to understand at least a part of what you were experiencing in that, because there is a conflicting report from their vantage point that tries to explain what you were thinking or feeling, and you've done it yourself. But I want to be clear, you say you were not there to protest ICE. You were there on your way to an appointment, and you
Even if
stopped
she
in the
was.
traffic, and they got the conflicting
her
reports
right.
and commands. Were you there to protest ICE? Had you ever protested ICE before in that arena?
The question is irrelevant.
No.
So when you went that day and you were detained, as you said, what was that like for you once you were? What happened after they took you?
Number one, I experienced a very specific set of dehumanization practices during the 6 stages of detention and processing that I counted before I went unconscious and was taken out in an ambulance. Number two, during every one of those stages, I clocked ICE agents doing things that indicated they were not aware of what their job was or how to do it. Lots of, where's this? What do we do next? You know,
Sounds about right.
At all 5 stages, agents had to stop, ask someone else what to do, where basic things were. There were local staff who seemed to know some of that thing, but I distinctly heard 2 of them at one point say to each other, we don't want to step on ICE's toes, when I was trying to get medical care. And the third is that the practices I experienced with like my own body, ears, and eyes do not make sense to me as an immigration or public safety strategy, because they make
it's
things
not.
less safe. And honestly, I was not separated from a citizen of any other country. I think people believe this is just immigrants in there, and it is not. I was told that if I were a normal human, nothing would be a problem.
They said that to
We have now heard from, oh yeah. You know, when I asked for disability accommodations, and I said, did anybody bring my cane with me from the car? I need that to walk, not stand, but walk, because my balance is bad. They said, there's no canes here. They stood me up in leg irons and said, walk, push my back. Walk, you can do it. Nobody said, maybe we should find something else. There was no medical screening. I was never once asked for my ID, even told I was under arrest, never charged.
Wow.
And when they
Complete violation of this woman's rights.
Somebody finally noticed I was not able to balance, even sitting, and they said, I think there might have been a wheelchair around here the other day, because I kept asking, can you at least get a wheelchair? People said, I don't even know if we have those. That's not the answer to that question. That's never should be happening. And when they put me in the wheelchair, finally, an officer said, wait, you were driving, right? So your legs do work.
What?
You know, I refrain from saying, I refrain from saying, hey, have you ever seen a handicap parking spot, sir? What? But the thing is, right, people are going to say, well, none of that stuff is illegal. It's just mean. But I have read too many books to think that things are okay when this level of dehumanization is happening, because it means officers are probably trying to get through their day when they have been given orders that are not righteous, and they are to hurt people.
Alexa,
And,
I have to ask you, and Ali, you have to forgive me, my own sister is mobility impaired. And she drives with the assistance, had to accommodate and adapt her car so many different times to be able to still function and live in the standard that she wants to. I get emotional thinking about it, but my blood is boiling thinking about that experience. So can you just describe from the legal perspective of it?
Yeah.
She was detained. The DHS says that she was arrested for obstruction.
Yeah.
Are you aware if she is facing any charges? I have to, for a second, compartmentalize the dehumanization just to get through the question. You have to forgive me.
Is she facing any charges?
She's facing any charges?
I have not heard, and it would, if she were, they would be completely baseless, because the people who violated laws at that scene were the DHS officers. And in particular, every officer in the way they treated her once they found out she had a disability, because Alia was very upfront about it. She told the officers, I am a woman with a disability, I have autism. She yelled it, you can hear it on the video. And they escalated at that point and then subjected her to a very brutal use of force, pulling her out of the car, slamming her down on the ground, and then carrying her like an animal is the only way to describe it. That violates every police standard and how you're supposed to interact with somebody in a car. And it violates every standard in how you're supposed to interact with somebody with a disability.
Well, that ended abruptly there. A family is saying that ICE threw tear gas in their house and their baby stopped breathing because of it.
In tonight's deep dive, we're focusing on ICE enforcement in Minneapolis and one family's experience that's getting national attention. Sean and Destiny Jackson say they and their 6 kids were on their way home from their oldest son's basketball game last week when they got caught between federal agents and protesters. They say after ICE agents told them to leave, tear gas was thrown under their car, detonating the airbags and trapping their family inside, including their 6-month-old baby, as black smoke filled the car, obstructing their vision and their ability to breathe. As a result, Destiny says her baby temporarily stopped breathing and she had to perform CPR before the family went to the hospital. Destiny and her husband Sean are here to share more of their story. So Destiny and Sean, thank you both so much for making the time. First of all, can you just walk us through what happened to you last week? What's really sticking with you emotionally still?
Well, as you guys know, have seen last week, we were on our way home from our son's basketball game. We stopped at our local grocery store to grab some food for dinner on the way home. Just the normal way that we go home. We were going up the hill, and when we got to the top of the hill, there was yellow tape everywhere, and basically like nowhere drive. We bust a right and kind of had to pull over to let cars that were already coming up the street through. And in the process of that, kind of just asked like what was going on. We thought maybe like in our side of the neighborhood, most of the time it's like stuff like that is like killing or homicide, And so we were alerted that, ICE was doing their little thing. They had shot somebody. I had seen my mom out there, and I didn't want her to be out there due to like her heart condition and stuff like that. And when it was time, when we were about to leave to go home, everything just took a turn for the worse.
And you said your baby stopped breathing for a period of time earlier. I mean, that moment must still be with you.
That moment is still with me. I mean, like the biggest moment that's with me, that is something, but it was just like being trapped in the car. Like when our airbags deployed, we got our car went into an anti-lock system and all of our doors locked. There was I can remember trying to kick windows, and I slowly began to like just feel for everybody's door, and I started unlocking doors. Once we were out of the car, I was screaming for I told them I still have kids in the car. People were pulling me in the house. And I'm like, no, I have babies in the car. And my infant was the last one to enter in the house that we were pulled into. And he was like lifeless. Like, I mean, it was horrible.
Have you and your family fully processed what exactly happened? And how are your kids doing?
We have not fully processed. I mean, it's been nothing but sleepless nights. Honestly, we're like, up every hour, 45 minutes to an hour, like checking cameras outside of the house, just being scared, like scared that they might just come and retaliate and come to the house just because we are telling our story of what happened. My kids have so many questions about what happened. They're asking about like, are we going to get a new car? And they're saying things like, well, we need an armored car, or we need a bulletproof car, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's sticking with them.
And Sean, when you were trapped in the car and the ICE agents had surrounded the car, I mean, what were you thinking in that moment about what you could do?
I couldn't do anything. It's like, we seen what happened with
Renee, and it's like I wasn't gonna let that happen to me. So it's like I couldn't do anything.
We couldn't pull off at that moment. We didn't want to pull off because we didn't want that to happen, but we definitely weren't aware that what happened was going to happen.
And the Department of Homeland Security responded to our reporting about your incident, and DHS wrote in a social media post that has now been deleted that it is horrific to see radical agitators bring children to their violent riots. Please stop endangering your children. What's your reaction to that message?
I'm pretty sure they deleted that because they know that we weren't there protesting. There was a narrative. I was there. We were trying to get home, and then my mom was there, and we seen her there, and we wanted her to get home. And in the process, I mean, people have seen videos in the process. You guys may see us out there, but you can see me standing by my mom. You can see my husband standing by my mom. We wanted her to go home, and we've never protested. Nobody has ever known us to protest, so we weren't just bringing our kids to protest. We were just trying to go home.
Like, we get it. Like, you were involved with the protest, but even the protesters can't have their rights violated.
I don't even know how to explain what happened to us or my children, and it was horrific. And like, people, they say mean things, but at the end of the day, like, we know what happened, and nobody has had to live through or is living through what happened. And it's very, like, that was a very traumatic event for us. And and it's even more
you gotta go protest this shit now.
All over social media and online and stuff.
You mentioned sleepless nights. Sean and Destiny, do you feel safe stepping outside of your home right now? Do you feel safe having your kids going outside in the neighborhood?
No.
Goddamn, turning my finger in the right direction. That's a Smokey's head. And Maynard was giving him lovin's. Oh, wait. Socks was involved in this too. All three cats are just right there. Okay, now Socks has had enough. Smokey's had enough. Oh. Well, maybe made her to love on him a little bit more. It wouldn't be a fight. It'd be Maynard being a dick and smacking one of them, and then one of them run away. Like, okay, so Maynard's probably gonna smack Smokey eventually. Like, right now, he's being loving and grooming him. But Maynard's a little shithead. So he's gonna smack Smokey at some point in time. I've seen this happen over and over and over again. Or maybe not, because Maynard's kind of starting to mellow out. He's getting older. He's going to town. Smokey must taste good. Are you guys into this content? Should I go back to the news, or should we see if Maynard is gonna smack the shit out of Smokey? You might have heard me talking about him. No, Smokey is the sweetest cat that's ever lived and would never harm any. Well, he would harm lizards and he's sadistic. Like, I've seen him walk around with a lizard in his mouth. I don't think there's enough time for the poll. I was thinking it would happen any time now, but now Maynard's distracted himself. Smokey drops slurs when I go to get a drink. I'm just telling you, Smokey is the sweetest cat ever. Socks is the sweetest cat ever. Maynard is a little shithead. But he's mellowing out. Like, once again, I think he was feral when I got him. And he's gotten more and more domesticated. Yeah, we get away without a fight. Smokey's gonna go his own way. All right, Maynard. Apparently it's feeding time. Smokey and Socks going down to the... I don't know where Socks went to. Let me see if I can get you a Socks. Oh, he's over here getting some water. I want to stop him from getting a drink. Maynard's up there like, you're talking shit about me and I look so sweet. I'm just chilling. Let me go get him. Here's the Socks. Here's the Socks. Say hi, Socks. He doesn't like to be hit. Well, I can hold him like a baby. He's okay with that. We've gone out places. When I had to take him to the vet, I could hold him like a baby. He's hopping back up there with Maynard. Uh-oh. You guys gonna chill out together? Now Smokey's having him a snack. We've got cat time going on. I'm sorry, it's cat time with JustinFREAKIN. I've still got news to go. We're right in the middle of all the ICE stories that are just horrible. Was it good to take a little break and talk about the cats in the middle of all the ICE stories? The baby that stopped breathing. The next one's insane. A man with a rare skin condition was detained by ICE. Is this a goddamn commercial?
Mohammed Duklef and Hani Dugloff have always been a team. On Saturday, the brothers brewed...
Mohammed Duklef and Mahimi Dukloff?
Mohammed Duklef and Hani Dugloff have always...
Mohammed Duklef and Hani Dukloff. Josephus, welcome in.
Mohammed Duklef and Hani Dugloff have always been a team. On Saturday, the brothers brewed coffee, but it's rare they have a mission that simple. The Dugloffs left Libya in 2014, arriving in Minnesota on visas to seek medical care. They have a rare skin condition called epidermolysis bullosa, or EB.
Blisters and the skin can kick off very easy.
They've each participated in clinical trials.
I don't want that shit in my coffee.
He became one of the faces of St. Paul College on his way to working an IT job. An American dream.
Maybe it adds flavor.
On January 10th.
Maybe that's their
As Hani told his brother he was getting pulled over on the highway in Wisconsin.
Later on, he called me at night and he said, I'm at ICE detention center.
Since they handcuffed me, I felt like being treated like a criminal. First time having handcuffs on my hands.
Hani says ICE brought him to what he described as an overcrowded federal Whipple building at Fort Snelling, immediately running into problems related to his condition. Documents show agents took him to M Health Fairview Southdale Hospital once they realized they were unable to meet his needs, including the fact that he can only eat soft foods. His feet shackled at the hospital. Hani quickly found himself back at Whipple, where problems persisted.
I said, I can't eat the food that you provided. I need soft food for me, something I can eat. He said, I'm sorry, but this is not a 5-star hotel.
That was his response to your medical needs?
Yes.
The brothers sharing photos of injuries to his skin they say were sustained during detainment. Hani was released on the 15th after posting bond.
It's a mix of system failure because Hani followed every single process legally.
Hani's status is uncertain, spending nearly 10 years trying to gain asylum. First applying as Libya descended into civil war, a place without the medical infrastructure to keep up with his needs. What happens to you if you go back to Libya?
I don't know, but it won't be something that...
Gaining citizenship after marrying an American, Mohammed is hopeful his brother will stay, and this team isn't broken up.
Did look like good coffee.
Look at my handsome husband.
Just don't know if I want their skin in it. Because you know a certain amount of the skin has to get in the coffee. You want to see Smokey? He really is the coolest cat. Like, I've never had a cat like this. Just laid back and chill as Smokey is most of the time. But then if a cat's gonna go by your head at 90 miles an hour, it's gonna be Smokey. Like, and it's once in a blue moon, literally, like once every 2 or 3 months. He gets the zoomies. And then he'll ass juice. He ass juices like once every 2 or 3 months. Gets all excited. Ow, god damn it. Ow, that hurts. Okay, buddy. Okay, last night we covered the story of the man who was taken from his home in his underwear, who was a citizen, was a fucking citizen. He's now speaking out.
This is the moment 56-year-old Chung Lee Tao was arrested by ICE at his home in St. Paul, Minnesota. Officers broke down his door, handcuffed him, and dragged him into the snow wearing just shorts and sandals. Tao, who goes by the name Scott, was returned home later on Sunday without explanation or apology.
Down here.
He spoke to Reuters, recounting the fear and shame he felt.
My daughter-in-law came to the room and said, "Dad, there's an ice out there." I said, "Okay, just don't open the door." So I locked my bedroom, and then Sunday they break in. They just came to the room and knocking the door. So I just said, "Okay, just open the door, see what they want." And then Sunday there's a gun pointed at us. I like, whoa. and then they go, "You come out here." I go, "Okay." And then I came out there with my hand up, and then they said put my hand on my back, so I did, and then suddenly they just handcuffed me.
Tao said he tried presenting his ID.
They didn't ask for my ID or anything until after they handcuffed me, and then they asked me, "Do I have my ID?" I go, "Yeah, it's in the room." And then my daughter-in-law, she tried to get my ID, but they didn't want to see it no more. Yeah, they just took me out there with no clothes on, and then just covered with my grandson's blanket. So yeah, they just took me out there. And I was like, man, this is embarrassing.
Tao said his parents brought him from Laos to the United States in 1974, and he became a U.S. citizen in 1991. After officers photographed him and took his fingerprints, he was returned home. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said officers were investigating 2 convicted sex offenders at the address. Spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin said a U.S. citizen living there refused to be fingerprinted or be facially identified, and that he matched the description of an offender. She added that it's standard protocol to hold all individuals from a house involved in an operation for the safety of the public and law enforcement. Tao's son, Chris, says what happened makes him wonder if America is still a good place to be.
If this is America, if this America is what it looks like, why are we here? What are we doing here?
Wild propaganda spreading about this incident. This is the shit that's going to be covered in history books. A MAGA account called Bad Hombre says liberal white woman in Minneapolis cries hysterically as ICE conducts a search for 2 child rapists in her neighborhood. So the propaganda is that she's crying over rapists, when in reality, she's seeing the man that you just heard from in that interview being dragged out of his house in his underwear. These people are shameless. Smears this woman as crying hysterically over 2 child rapists. This kind of political commentary that you get from Bad Hombre. And then like right wingers come to me and say this shit like it's true. And they're like, oh, you're all taking up for rapists. And like, no, you take up for rapists because you voted for Donald Trump. Here's the thing. Apparently, the cops are pissed off. The cops in Minneapolis say that ICE has been fucking with them.
I'm Mark Ruley, Police Chief of the City of Brooklyn Park. Behind me is a bunch of amazing police chiefs that are here in support of a very short but very important message that we want to share with you. What you won't hear from any of us today is rhetoric of abolish ICE or that there shouldn't be immigration enforcement. The truth is, immigration enforcement is necessary for our national security and for local security. But how it's done is extremely important. In fact, we have a long history of working exceptionally well with our federal partners, including ICE agents, and we have seen the best of them perform their job extremely well in the past. With that said, recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a U.S. citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, preventing her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles.
They did this to a cop.
I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers. This isn't just important because it happened to off-duty police officers, but what it did do is we know that our officers know what the Constitution is, they know what right and wrong is, and they know when people are being targeted. And that's what they were. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim to this every day.
Yeah.
It has to stop. This behavior erodes the trust that these police chiefs have worked tirelessly for the last 5 years and theoretically the last 60 years to stop this exact behavior from happening.
Orb, welcome in.
Now I want to be really clear.
He just highlighted a case where a female officer was off duty. She was stopped by ICE, harassed for her papers. She didn't have any papers on her. She pulled out her phone to film, and they knocked the phone out of her hands. She then identified herself as a cop, and they left her the fuck alone.
I've called lots of other ICE agents and HSI agents and have talked to a lot of individuals about this. This is not widespread. This is a small group of agents within the surge in the metro area that are performing or acting this way. As a matter of fact, as rumors of this had spread, I've received phone calls from ICE agents and HSI agents indicating this is not how they act, this is not what they do. Regardless, we're calling to action that we have more supervision over the surge, that this type of civil rights violations have to stop. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Henry, the St. Paul Police Department.
I was going to say fuck Chief Henry anyway. Nazi-ass Greg Bovino, the head of CHP. No. CPB. CHP, something different. Greg Bovino gave a press conference earlier today.
My name is Greg Bovino. I'm the Commander at Large for Customs and Border Protection Assets here.
He's a tiny man. He sounds like a tiny man.
I'm here to talk with you today about interior enforcement, border security, and making our community.
Honestly, he looks like a 55-year-old lesbian. It'd be a softball
joined by my
coach.
colleague, Executive Associate Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Mr. Marcos Charles.
Marcos.
Now, folks, let me be clear from the start that public safety in Minneapolis is not negotiable.
Yeah, those big-ass glasses did not help my
criminals
accusation of him being a
exploit gaps in
55-year-old
enforcement.
lesbian.
Gaps at that state
That
and local
coaches
level most
softball.
especially. Federal law enforcement has a responsibility to act. That is why we are here. And that is what this operation is about. Our operations are lawful, they're targeted, and they're focused on individuals who pose a serious threat to this community. They are
Why
not
does he
random,
kind of talks like Barney
and
Fife?
they are not political. They are about removing criminals who are actively harming Minneapolis.
Portland, welcome in.
For too long, residents have been told that enforcing our nation's immigration laws undermines public safety.
Niggle,
In
welcome
reality,
in.
the opposite is true. When the law is not enforced, violent offenders remain free. Criminal networks expand.
Yeah, and what's this? I've never seen this.
The price. Our neighbors, our citizens, our friends pay the price.
I have seen the meme comparing him to a
Rather
Mississippi
than confront
character.
that
Like, that's
reality,
just the way they
which I've just
drew
spoken,
men back then.
Leaders like Tim Waltz or Mayor Fry have
I might even saved that.
And accusations that distract from the facts. The facts are that federal agents are arresting.
I'm sorry, I don't know that I saved that one, but I saved this one.
Child predators, cartel-connected criminals, and other individuals who pose a real danger to the people of Minneapolis. As these operations began and since, there have been constant attempts to interfere with law.
I laughed at that one way too
of our
much
nation's
today.
Title VIII
I can't
immigration
take any
law.
more of them. Shut the fuck up, dude. Felt like I was in health class. There's a murder for hire case involving this motherfucker back in Chicago. I believe somebody tried to take a hit out on Bovino.
has been selected with opening statements set to begin tomorrow. And you know, this is a big case for the U.S. Attorney's Office here, not only because it is the first one related to Operation Midway Blitz to reach trial, but also because the judge hearing it has barred prosecutors of making any mention of the one thing that could make or break their chance of securing a conviction. It was late this morning when jury selection finally got underway, a challenge in a case that has garnered a fair amount of media attention. The government seeking to prove that Juan Espinosa Martinez sought to have Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino killed during the immigration enforcement operations that swept through Chicago last fall. The 37-year-old Mexican national was arrested back in October. The criminal complaint filed against him alleging he is a high-ranking member of the Latin Kings, someone capable of ordering people killed. As evidence, prosecutors pointed to a Snapchat message allegedly sent by Espinosa Martinez that shows a picture of Bovino along with a caption written in both English and Spanish that reads, "2K on information when you get him, 10K if you take him down, LK on him." But after prosecutors backed away from that premise, Judge Lefkoe barred them from making any reference to gang membership or even affinity at all. The case is an important one for the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, which has
Well, let's see how that works out for the DOJ.
of its 31 non-immigration related cases stemming from Operation Midway Blitz, with judges increasingly skeptical of information brought forth by the government. If convicted, Juan Espinosa Martinez faces up to 10 years in prison. Now, while the trial does involve an alleged hit against Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino, Bovino himself will not be here during the trial, which is expected to last only a couple of days, again with opening statements beginning tomorrow morning. Live at the Dirksen Federal Building, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Judy.
For you little leaguers out there, shoot up drugs, not schools. Peace, motherfuckers. Don Lemon is beefing with Nicki Minaj because, like, Nicki Minaj not even a fucking citizen. She out here being all MAGA because she's married to a child molester or some shit. I don't know. It's all messy.
Homophobic tweet about me. I usually don't respond to this stuff, but let me just say this. Nicki Minaj, stop talking about shit for which you know nothing about. This is out of your depth, by the way, and you are
okay. Ladies.
You don't care about African Americans, and you're not an African American. From what I know, you are reportedly an undocumented citizen, so you should be deported under Donald Trump's rules. And the other thing is that your family members, you have one family member who is reportedly a sex offender, the other family member, your husband or whatever, a sex offender is your husband, and one of them is reportedly a pedophile. And you have nerve to talk about me and what you think that I do?
Keep Don Lemon's name out your mouth.
Get a life. Stop being a pick-me. You should have put a pick-me doll on that damn tweet instead of a Chucky doll, because you are nothing but a pick-me. And I choose not to pick you. And so should black people, and so should gay people. Shouldn't buy your music. Clock that.
Is Don Lemon gay? Did I know this already? That's a shame, because he could crush so much pussy. You know he could. All gay men can, or all gay men could. Do you have a preference on cat? We get Maynard. I had Socks and Smokey last. Maynard comes up here. Yeah. I'm JustinFREAKIN, you know me. You've never met Maynard James Kitten before? I find it hard to believe, but also he's getting up here more and more, like now. He wasn't a cat that really got on stream a lot. I used to have to work to get him. Why is that not? She's the titty slap woman. She keeps popping up for me. Her videos keep popping up for me.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
They were going after her titties. Look at that. That did not look fun. Maybe she's into it. I don't know. The woman who was actually convicted in the Somali fraud case, a woman by the name of Amy Bach, she's now speaking out. She's trying to get her conviction thrown out. She's trying to make herself out to be the victim and put all the blame on the Somali community. Keep that in mind when you hear what you get. Prosecutors allege that she was the ringleader, that she is the one that orchestrated all this fraud. Despite if you watched Andrew Callahan's response to Nick Shirley, apparently Nick Shirley's upset about his interview now. It was the 89% of fraud in Minnesota is committed by Somalis. It was no. In that one case, 89% of people convicted were Somali, but the prosecutors alleged that the ringleader was a woman by the name of Amy Bach. She's speaking out, though.
Review what the woman prosecutors say was the mastermind of Minnesota's biggest COVID-era fraud scheme. 44-year-old Amy Bach is not part of the Somali community. Last year, she was convicted of orchestrating a $250 million pot to defraud a government program to feed hungry children. CBS News Minnesota investigative reporter Jonah Kaplan spoke with that woman exclusively. He joins us this morning from Minneapolis. Jonah, really important interview. I mean, you spoke to her in the jail cell. Break down the story for us.
Well, look, Kelly, good morning. And when you think about all that's been going on here in Minneapolis with the surge of all these federal agents, it's all because, at least according to the administration, it's this fraud investigation. And the Somali community has been at the forefront of the investigation because most of those who have been either charged or convicted in the fraud schemes are Somali. But Amy Bach is not Somali, but federal prosecutors blaming her for being the mastermind, at least, of one of these schemes. It's rare to speak with someone in federal custody, but Amy Bach told us she defended her actions, but she has some regrets.
We were allowed 1 hour to speak with Amy Bach over a video call from her Minnesota jail cell.
Now I can hear you, yes.
Until she was arrested in 2022, Bach led...
That 19 billion is an absurd number. That's nowhere near 19 billion. The feds estimated it at like 250 million.
Feeding Our Future. The now infamous nonprofit signed up restaurants and caterers, many from Minnesota's large Somali community, to receive taxpayer money for providing meals to children in need.
During COVID, for obvious reasons, parents were allowed to come and pick up meals. So we suddenly were able to reach more children.
But prosecutors said it turned into something else, the nation's largest COVID-era fraud, with Bach as its mastermind.
Are you the mastermind of this scheme?
Absolutely not. I believe in accountability. If I had done this, I would have pled guilty. I wouldn't have gone to trial. I wouldn't have put my children and my family through what we've been through. I've lost everything.
While Bach's attorney provided this video,
Oh, I believe you believe you're innocent.
prosecutors say Bach and the businesses she recruited stole tens of millions of federal dollars, spending it on luxury cars, real estate ventures, and vacations.
I wish I could go back and do things differently, stop things, catch things.
Yeah, it wasn't me. And then cut to her in luxury car and popping champagne and shit.
At that point in time, I believed we were doing everything in our power to protect the program.
But in 2021, Bach sued the state agency that oversaw the meal program, alleging its scrutiny of Somali applicants was, quote, discriminatory. How do you think state officials took that?
Nobody wants to be labeled as being racist.
Minnesota officials told a state watchdog the threat of legal consequences and negative media attention intimidated them into easing off.
The notion that a state government is paralyzed and has to allow this level of fraud because they were afraid of what I might do in a lawsuit is preposterous.
Help me welcome Amy Bach.
What?
In Minnesota's large Somali community, one leader called her a modern-day Robin Hood.
The community deserves this. The children need this.
In 2019, the nonprofit submitted $3 million worth of meal claims. 2 years later, it submitted nearly $200 million.
God
You're
damn.
cutting $200 million worth of checks. How do you not see that as major red flags and keep this going?
We relied on the state. We told the state, this site is going to operate at this address, this day, this time, and this number of children. The state would then tell us that's approved.
Prosecutors also accused Bach of collecting bribes and kickbacks from meal site operators. At trial, they revealed text messages where she compared Feeding Our Future to the mob.
Are you a mob boss?
Absolutely not. No.
Were you personally benefiting from any of it?
I collected my salary, and that was all that was collected.
Didn't federal agents find gold jewelry, cash in your closet?
They found minimal jewelry. I believe it was like 2 pair of earrings, a bracelet, a watch. There was some cash there.
At trial, Bach took the stand, but the jury didn't buy her story. Within hours, they convicted her on all counts.
Yeah, it was a
Last
quick
month,
conviction.
A judge ordered her to forfeit more than $5 million in proceeds from the fraud.
Minnesota officials are defending their actions, pointing to the fact that there were employees in state government that were the ones that actually told the FBI to go investigate Feeding Our Future. So far, 78 defendants connected just to the Feeding Our Future scandal.
I mean, the fact that she was indicted in 2022, convicted in 2023, kind of seems like the system did its job, right?
Remember, there are several social services under investigation, but 78 connected to Feeding Our Future have been charged, more than 60 pleading guilty or convicted at trial. Bach is awaiting sentencing, and Vlad and Kelly, she faces now decades in prison.
So, Jonah, one of the questions I had for you, and as I said to you on CBS Mornings, this is an incredible interview that you've given us, and you've been covering the story pretty much since it first broke. And so the question is, are these prosecutions done? I mean, you've got the alleged mastermind behind bars, and yet the administration, the Trump administration, is still going after the city of Minneapolis, going after the governor, going after the mayor, because of these alleged cases of embezzlement and fraud. What's left to be done? In other words, what is left to be prosecuted if you've got the mastermind already behind bars?
Well, it's a great question, Vlad. And certainly before this latest Operation Metro Surge, and before that had become the headline, just before this, they had announced 5 or 6 new indictments in some of the other schemes. So there was a social service to provide people or to help them with housing for addiction services. There was also a scheme about behavioral health and autism. Those were all currently being investigated, and those the number of people indicted there are still kind of in the single digits. And here in Feeding Our Future, that's just one social service program. There are 14 social service programs, high risk, they say, for fraud, that are currently under investigation. And since 2019, According to federal prosecutors, there have been $18 billion spent on those programs in Minnesota, and half of that could be fraud. So feeding our future, that investigation took a few years. We're just, as the U.S. Attorney said, just at the end of the beginning of this investigation.
Yeah, it really does seem like there's going to be a slow trickle as you find more and more. And Jonah, we know that means you're going to be very, very busy
Indeed.
as you continue to cover this. Thank you so much for your time today.
Great to be with you guys. Thanks.
I saw Somali Walmart was trending on Twitter. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Somali Walmart. And it apparently refers to this. Nick Sorter. I know that name. Where does that come from? This scene on Tucker Carlson. Was he the producer that got fired for being a Nazi? I went into a Somali Walmart in Minneapolis to buy one item. Somali worker comes up to me, can't speak English, but is seemingly demanding proof of purchase. I showed her proof on my phone, but she couldn't read it. She then tried to detain me, so I left. The irony is unreal. Trying to prove this is the Walmart he went to. That was blatant F. I can't keep up with all these motherfuckers. There's so many of them. They're like cockroaches. I know him from something. From some controversy I've had to cover on the show. Meanwhile, these people that care so much about fraud just overlooking the fact that Trump has pardoned multiple financial crimes that came with hundreds of millions in punishment. The president's second-term pardons have wiped clean dozens of financial crimes and significantly more fines and restitution than in past administrations. Just 1 year into a second term, Donald Trump has pardoned an unusually high number of wealthy people accused of financial crimes. Surprise, surprise. Over half of Trump's 88 individual pardons. No, they did. $88 pardons. Over half of those are for white-collar offenses, with money laundering, bank fraud, and wire fraud among the most frequent crimes. Additionally, about half of the pardon recipients are either business executives or politicians. Included in the latest round of pardons issued on Thursday and Friday, former healthcare CEO, the former governor of Puerto Rico, and a pair of siblings who were convicted on fraud charges, one of whom Trump previously freed for a different crime. A few pardon recipients are billionaires, including Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, who pled guilty to enabling money laundering on his crypto platform. Longtime English soccer club owner Joe Louis pleaded guilty last year to insider trading charges, and Venezuelan Italian banker Julio M. Herrera Valentini, whom Trump pardoned last week while he awaited sentencing on campaign finance violations. These are aside from the group of roughly 1,500 convicted January 6 rioters he pardoned on the first day back in office. I mean, something's got to give, right? Something's good. All right, we're going to do a couple of crime stories, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. If you don't like kind of graphic stuff, give us about... I don't think anybody gets hurt in the second story. So just give us 3 minutes. Give us 3 minutes to watch this one that's about a murder. Residents in Beverly Hills are shocked by a brazen murder that happened in the street. There is video of it.
The city of Beverly Hills shaken tonight after a man was attacked and run over in broad daylight. The victim died from his injuries. The suspect now behind bars facing a murder charge. Fox 11's Rachel Aragon joins us live after speaking with the people who live and work in the area. Rachel.
Susan, it was this very area where police say they initially responded to a call of an assault with a deadly weapon, but we spoke to many people right here in this neighborhood. They say they could not believe a man died after first being beaten and then brutally run over.
Just to hear something like that happening, like so
and run over?
It's just like really, really shocking.
I feel like I know this guy. I've smoked weed with him.
24 hours after a man was attacked and then run over in Beverly Hills in broad daylight, the shock still lingers for those who work in the area.
A lot of my friends live so close by, just knowing that something like that could happen here, I know, like, you know, would shake them up for sure.
Yeah, that was
Police say
fucking
the
crazy.
suspect and the victim were involved in a verbal altercation. During the altercation, the suspect struck the victim multiple times with a metal object, then got into his vehicle. And from this video, you can see the suspect driving into the victim and running him over.
And he speeds away. I'm just glad they caught him.
The suspect fled to a nearby building, but this cell phone video shows he didn't get far. The man was detained and taken away by police in handcuffs. Beverly Hills police have identified the suspect as 54-year-old Christopher Cornelius. They say he has an extensive criminal record and was booked for murder with bail set at $2 million.
I mean, who doesn't have an extensive criminal record? Are you really an American?
I think, again, like we talked about, like living in Beverly Hills, being in, like working here in Beverly Hills, this is like
living in Beverly Hills.
In fact, according to the Beverly Hills Police online crime statistics, there were no criminal homicides in 2023 or 2024, and no murders for the months listed on the department's website for the year 2025.
What do you want, a
happen
cookie?
in Beverly Hills or anywhere else in the world. That's totally tragic.
Police confirming to Fox 11 the victim was taken to the hospital where he later died. Now, as of right now, it is still unclear what relationship, if any, between the suspect and that victim. We also reached out again to the coroner's office tonight to get any more information, of course, on the victim and the ID. But so far, that victim has not yet been released and identified. Pretty live tonight, I'm Rachel Aragon. Susan, I'll send it back to you.
Well, Rachel, are police saying anything about the victim's age or anything else that might be a descriptor?
No, right now they're just saying a male, of course, adult, but as of that, it's been tight-lipped. But again, it's just shocking for many people here because this area, the Beverly Hills, the city, has not seen a murder in several years.
Beverly Hills.
Rachel Aragon, thank you so much for your...
Actor Timothy Busfield apparently going to be released from jail while he awaits trial. This breaking in the last few hours.
Tonight, actor Timothy Busfield will be released from jail as his child sex abuse case moves forward.
There's no evidence of a pattern of criminal conduct. There are no similar allegations involving children in his past. There's no evidence of non-compliance with prior court orders.
Wife and actress Melissa Gilbert emotional in court and tonight speaking out.
I want to thank all of the friends, the co-workers.
Oh, damn, she's a hottie.
Our relatives, people who have been coming out of the woodwork, showering us with so much love.
Busfield faces child sex abuse charges. The allegations involve two child actors, brothers in the drama series The Cleaning Lady. The prosecutor today calling Busfield dangerous.
There's a pattern. The pattern is all touching. There's a pattern of his conduct.
Prosecutors also raising an alleged incident between Busfield and a different actor.
Almost immediately after she entered his trailer, he forcibly grabbed her and threw her against the wall and started kissing her.
The defense says the stories are all fabricated.
Every aspect of the state's case is flawed.
Calling the lead director of photography Busfield worked with on The Cleaning Lady as a witness to discuss if inappropriate touching could have taken place.
Film sets may seem chaotic if you're an outsider,
but everything we do is incredibly regimented. There was a minimum of 10 people there on the set with them. It's just how it works.
In court documents, the defense accusing the boys' parents of making up allegations for a financial and retaliatory motive because the kids were recast from the show in 2024.
How's Busfield doing?
He's doing great. He knows he's innocent and he's going to prove it.
Dana Griffin, NBC News.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay
shut up,
updated
Tom
on breaking
Lama.
news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
We miss Lester. There's apparently some new audio that has come out. What do you guys think? People have said they always had a weird feeling about him. I'm not that familiar with him.
Actor Timothy Busfield was back in a New Mexico courtroom today, pleading with the judge to set him free until his trial for child abuse allegations. Jim Murray is at the courthouse in Albuquerque with the very latest, and we want to warn you, some of the details are graphic.
Actress Melissa Gilbert appears at an Albuquerque courthouse as her husband Timothy Busfield asks the judge to set him free. Busfield was led into
She
court
looks
in
more
handcuffs
familiar to
in
me
an
than he
orange
does.
jail jumpsuit. I spoke to Busfield's attorney.
There is no credible evidence that Tim did anything wrong. There are dozens of witnesses and documentation and audio which establishes that he didn't do anything.
Are you hoping he'll be released today?
He should be released today.
Prosecutors say that Busfield is a serious and ongoing danger to any child in his proximity, and they want him to stay locked up. He's been behind bars since his arrest 7 days ago. Police allege Busfield engaged in unlawful sexual conduct with twin brothers on the set of the Fox TV show The Cleaning Lady, which was filmed in Albuquerque. Now, for the first time, we're hearing audio from the twins who initially told police in 2024 Busfield did not touch them inappropriately.
You know what's right and wrong, right? You know where people can't touch, where people can't do. Yeah, you know that, right? Does Tim ever do that?
No, he's never touched me.
His twin brother had the same response.
You know what's right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
You know no one could touch your private areas?
Yeah, but he didn't touch that part.
Doesn't touch your private parts? Okay.
The audio recordings were released by Busfield's defense attorneys in an effort to establish his innocence of the charges. But prosecutors say that in recent months, after the boys underwent therapy, they changed their statements and said that Busfield had touched them inappropriately. Today, a veteran Hollywood security guard who worked on the set of The Cleaning Lady is reportedly prepared to testify on Busfield's behalf. In court papers, he claims he heard the twins' mother say she would get Timothy Busfield and have his blank if her boys were not hired for the show's fourth and final season, according to a report. Her boys were, in fact, replaced.
And more fallout for Busfield. He's just been digitally removed from an Amazon MGM romantic comedy called You Deserve Each Other. His scenes were done, but will now be edited out of the movie.
I don't know. It does kind of smell like a Michael Jackson job. But I reserve judgment for the courts. A man with a machete went into a laundromat, causing some damage.
Now at noon, caught on camera, chaos inside of a local laundromat as a man swings a machete dangerously close to customers. Thanks for joining us for the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Glenn Walker.
I mean, who hasn't done that?
For Lou Parker, the suspect is still on the loose after Saturday morning's bizarre attack in Pomona.
That is where KTLA 5 Sarah Welch joins us now with the latest on this developing story. Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Glenn and Lauren, good afternoon. Yeah, terrifying to say the least. And yes, it was all caught on camera. It happened here at the Super Wash and Dry here in Pomona. The owner of the laundromat says his biggest concern in the moment was his teenage son and other customers as that machete-wielding man came barging into the business.
And this is him here coming in now.
Oh, Melissa Gilbert is Sarah Gilbert's
Watch as security
sister?
cameras at the Super Wash and Dry captured those frightening moments. The screaming man running into the laundromat armed with a machete. This is off Fairplex Drive in Pomona. You can see customers see him and start moving out of his way. He rounds the corner of the machines. The man lunges toward the owner's son and makes disparaging comments about his red 49ers jersey. Then the man runs out of the laundromat.
It was over Sporty Ball.
I tell my son to call 911.
Are the 49ers having a bad season? Or a good season? He's pissed
Then
off.
the owner closes the doors, holds them shut, but the man still outside screaming comes back, hits the door with the machete, shatters the glass into pieces, screaming again before running off.
I thought he would just leave if the doors were closed, and so in the heat of the moment, he just reacts. You don't really think of it until afterwards, and so I'm definitely glad it didn't it didn't catch me. But you know, again, more concerned with the customers that we have in the building and my son that's inside. So
you did a good job, dude.
And here's another look at that man with the machete. The owner says he'd never seen him before, that
Go
there
Broncos.
are transients in the area, but says they mostly keep to themselves. He doesn't think his son or the laundromat were targeted.
Now, who is gonna
This man's episode, he began yelling about his 17-year-old son's
Who's gonna be in the
jersey.
Super
So again,
Bowl?
back here,
Do we
live,
know
a lot of
yet?
chaos and very frightening for the owner of this laundromat and for
Is
the
that
people
like this
inside.
coming
Again, the
weekend?
owner's hoping for an update from Pomona PD that they'll track down this man, so he's not still out on the streets, not with this machete, and that he should face the consequences for this threatening behavior.
It
Lauren
should be
and Glenn,
down like
send it
2 or
back to
4 teams, right? Getting close. Nobody in my fucking chat knows. Who's in the Super Bowl? There's still 4 teams left. Yeah, okay. The conference games are this weekend. It's the Rams and the Seahawks, the Patriots and the Broncos. I've got a dude has a NFL channel, and I talked to him about editing. He was unhappy with his Foreigner that was editing, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna be a little more expensive. So we're rooting for the Broncos, I guess. I said I didn't watch the sports ball, but I knew because I'm a news guy, right? So I knew the story. I knew about like Mike Tomlin leaving the Steelers, and there was one other story that he threw out, and I knew about it because I'm a news guy. That would be a good segue into doing the story about the porn star at the championship game last night, but I've still got a couple other stories. Like we have a video of a semi-truck catching fire after it fell off an overpass.
The Iowa State Patrol says a semi went off an I-80 overpass onto the road below.
Oh, do we not have the video of it going off?
That happened in Bettendorf early this morning. It shut down I-80 for
Bettendorf,
3 hours overnight.
Illinois?
The semi fell onto Middle Road and burst into flames. The driver was not hurt. The interstate is now back open.
Oh. That's the kind of video I like to see. We live in a time period where virtually everything's caught on video, so I want to see it. Like this, where we apparently have video of an SUV sinking and a swimmer.
A woman is trapped inside a sinking SUV. Good Samaritans jumping in to help, and as luck would have it, one was a Navy rescue swimmer who
just in time
to be having lunch nearby and knew exactly what to do. He spoke with Ann Mercogliano.
A woman is trapped inside the SUV and it's sinking fast.
It's tilting!
The drama happened after the SUV ended up in the water off a boat ramp in Virginia Beach.
Under the seatbelt!
Hero passerbys leaped into action, and one of those rescuers happens to be a Navy rescue swimmer. He was having lunch with a friend at a nearby restaurant. What are the odds?
I didn't think twice. I knew it was going to be cold. I think the air temperature.
It's Virginia Beach. Isn't there a base nearby? I'm pretty sure there is, so the odds are actually pretty good because it's Virginia Beach.
It was about 29 degrees at the time.
One rescuer smashes the rear window while another works the windshield. But little by little, the SUV is going under.
Her locks at some point were no longer working.
Witnesses on the dock are frantic.
Okay, submerged.
The SUV disappears. But then, a moment of complete elation. They bring the driver to the surface after pulling her out of the broken back.
Not the dudes that actually got her out of the vehicle. Praise the Lord.
It's a rescue swimmer thing. Just threw her on my hip and kind of swam her towards the pylons.
What did she say to you?
She was having a bad day. She was having a crisis.
I bet.
It wasn't on accident she ended up there. I think once the water started rushing in, her mind changed.
35-year-old Jeremy Way injured his hand during the rescue.
My wrist is a little sore. My hand, I think, from trying to beat on the window.
Put herself on purpose?
Jeremy tells us
Put
the
herself there
motto
on
of his
purpose?
Navy unit is, quote, so others may live, and he certainly lived up to it. Great job.
Well, that was wild. Last night was the college football national championship game. A porn star was filmed in the stands. She apparently did not want to be filmed. A Bella Danger wishes she could have watched her Miami Hurricanes compete without her face being plastered all over national television, with the adult film icon telling TMZ Sports she's sorry to anyone offended by her cameo appearance during Monday night's championship game. The current Miami student's mug, so she goes to school there. So she's putting herself through school. Good on her. She should be a fucking inspiration to people. Her mug popped up during ESPN's broadcast of the Hurricanes College Football Playoff Championship matchup with the Indiana Hoosiers at Hard Rock Stadium, right when her fave team was down 10 with under 7 minutes left in the game.
Plays just like that this season.
Yeah, every route was at about...
A Bella Danger.
Plays just like that this season.
Yeah, every route was at about...
Plays just like that this season.
Yeah, every route was at about...
The crowd shot was intended to show Cane fans' emotions during the... Hurricanes. Fans' emotions during the crucial moments in the contest, and it succeeded because it looked like she was really going through it. Danger's appearance immediately made rounds on social media, with some cracking jokes and others questioning whether the network was aware of who exactly they were showing. Once again, she's fucking photogenic as shit. Of course they showed her on camera. Regardless, it's not the first time she's been shown on screen, as she's attended a ton of Miami games in the past, and camera crews have tracked her down numerous times. But once again, she's very photogenic. But Danger's legitimately upset over her camera time, telling us, I would give anything in the world to have not had ESPN film me, and I'm so deeply sorry to anyone I offended with my attendance in the game. There is nothing to be offended by. Anybody that was offended is stupid. Oh, did they look? Her team lost?
Even though we lost, I don't care.
Yeah, Indiana won, right?
Proved that no other team deserved to be in the national versus Miami. No other team. Miami deserved that. Everyone counted us out. I don't care if we lost. Those men out
Well,
there,
you did lose.
best of the best, and no one deserved that.
She was just filmed by ESPN. Like, they took a crowd shot, and she was, like, making a pouty face over the team. Oh, no, this is a... And people are losing their shit because she's a porn star.
Plays just like that.
She goes to school there. But she was apologizing to anybody who was offended, and like, there's no reason, like, there's nothing for you to apologize. You did nothing offensive. Your presence is not offensive just because of the work that you do. Full stop, 100%. And I wish she hadn't, like, if she's sorry that, like, ESPN caught her or whatever because she wanted to be low key, that's one thing. But like, you don't have to be sorry for just being there. And apparently she's like taking her porn earnings and putting herself through school, which makes her a goddamn inspiration. That's my fucking 2 cents on it. What do you think? I think Oreo wants to show you a trick. Do you wanna see Oreo's cool trick? It's a bad invest. Well, okay, so if you're a porn star and you don't have anything better to do, like you're set, why not go to school? It's a way to occupy your time that's fulfilling, I would think. Not a financial investment to me. What do you guys think about what Oreo can do? What do you guys want to see Oreo? Let's see if he's in your area and you can adopt him. Where is it? Washington County, Tennessee. I had like 2 in a row from Washington County, Tennessee. That's where I went to college. I mean, that's kind of why I went to college. I thought it did open doors for me. I have jobs available to me that I did not have available before. Especially since I lied and say I got a master's now. If you weren't here earlier, February 1st, fucked up news. The news part of the Troll Patrol becomes fucked up news and it moves to 4 o'clock. I think Troll Patrol is holding me back as like a YouTuber, Rumble star, or whatever. Star. So we're gonna try this shit out with fucked up news. Fucked up news starts February 1st. Troll Patrol will be 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Rebranding that ass indeed. Troll Patrol will be Tuesdays and Thursdays. Fucked up news, 4 o'clock Eastern time, Sunday through Thursday. That's where you're gonna find out what that news be doing. I'm still gonna keep the Troll Patrol around because I love the name. I love Troll Patrol. It's my baby. I've been thinking about ice cream for like the last 45 minutes. I've been thinking about goddamn ice cream for like 45 minutes now. I was getting ready to raid Dave, and then I saw it was down ballot, and I'm like, yeah, that's not. Sorry, Davey boy. Let's raid Jake. I think a lot of you would go to Jake anyway. Light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.